We are going to Florida. True Crime Daily. Title says, 3 accused of plotting to kill teen to prevent her from testifying about alleged sexual assault. Published November 3rd, 2023, and we're going to Tampa. 3 men are being charged with federal crimes for allegedly plotting to kill and fatally shooting a teenager to prevent her from testifying against one of the suspects because she accused him of sexual assault. According to Hernando County Sheriff Al Nienhuis, on February 6th, the victim, who WFTS TV identified as 17-year-old Isabella Scavelli, went to the sheriff's office with a relative to report she had allegedly been sexually assaulted by 36-year-old Leonard White. On February 7th at 11:30 p.m., Hernando County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to a home on Hazel Avenue in Brooksville regarding a double shooting. When officials arrived, they found 2 victims with gunshot wounds. Medics transported them to a nearby hospital, where the teenage girl died from her wounds. Nienhuis said Scavelli and her relative opened the door, and the 2 men allegedly opened fire. Scavelli was reportedly shot 4 times and sustained a fatal gunshot wound to the lower back, which U.S. Attorney Roger Handberg said was caused by her trying to run to safety during the barrage of gunfire. White allegedly reached out to 22-year-old Sheldon Robinson and offered to pay him $10,000 to kill Scavelli so she would not testify against him. Robinson reportedly posted on social media and asked for her help with a cleanup job. He allegedly recruited 21-year-old Kashawn Woods and offered to pay him $5,000 as well as give him cocaine. The 3 suspects face both state and federal custody. Hernando County jail records show White was booked February 8th for sexual assault, then released 3 days later. On February 15th, he was taken back into custody on the same charge and for resisting an officer. Woods was arrested February 9th for possession and intent to sell cannabis, and other drug-related charges. He was released February 24th, and Robinson was also arrested February 9th for cocaine trafficking and possession of a weapon by a convicted felon. The 3 men, along with Robinson's mother, now face federal charges, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Florida. A grand jury indicted White, Woods, and Robinson on charges of conspiracy to commit murder for hire, discharge of a firearm during and in relation to a crime of violence, and discharge of a firearm in furtherance of a violent crime. White and Robinson face additional charges of conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, tampering with a witness, and obstruction of justice. The 3 men are alleged to have attempted to hinder the investigation by disposing of evidence, tampering with witnesses, obstructing justice, and making false statements to law enforcement. Robinson's mother, Janet Williams, was charged with 3 counts of making false statements to federal agents. She was released in October and was placed under house arrest. Williams could face a maximum of 5 years in prison for each of the 3 counts. The U.S. Attorney's Office said Woods is now detained in federal custody, while the other 2 men remain in the Hernando County Jail. They will appear in court November 9th. According to WFLA-TV, Scavelli was a junior at Hernando High School and involved in different organizations at the school. The school district reportedly said in a statement she was described by her teachers as an energetic, kind, and joyful student. The 3 men could face life in prison or the death penalty if they are convicted. Yeah. Damn, just keep him in jail. Mind you, those are 3 grown-ass men. Just want to point that out there, that the person that committed the crime is, 36 years old. That's a grown-ass man. And mind you, he reached out to a 22 and a 21-year-old. So now, not only is the grown-ass man going to jail, now the 22 and 21-year-olds are also going to be charged, and I mean, they're already charged for all the other trafficking that they had done with like drugs and shit. So now they're going to add this charge to everything else, and they're going to be spending a whole lot of time in prison. And for the life of me, I do not know what is so appealing about prison or jail. I don't know. Chat, let me know if you have any idea, because a lot of people sure do like going to jail. I don't understand. But, oh well. Who am I to understand that? I can only speak of my own life, and it just doesn't, I just don't understand it at all. But, nonetheless, let's watch abcactionnews.com. This is a Florida trio murdered teen to stop her testimony in sexual assault cases. DOJ says. And this is a short video from the Hernando County Sheriff's Office. Let's see if they have another video. They do not. We shall check this one out.
To the murder for hire plot that is now coming to light in Brooksville.
Now, the Department of Justice says today that 3 men face multiple charges for allegedly carrying out a contracted killing of a 17-year-old high school student. Detectives tell ABC Action News reporter Eric Waxler the men wanted to keep the teen from testifying against one of them.
When Isabella Scavelli was murdered back in February, people who knew the 17-year-old and her family were devastated.
Really quickly, this actually reminds me of a case that I remember reading about, and no, I did not read about that case. That chapter, I don't know if you've ever seen that content creator on YouTube. If you have not checked out that chapter's content, dude, I don't know what you're waiting for. He is probably one of the best true crime content creators on YouTube. He has amassed a huge following, and it's definitely worth watching the videos. You'll go down that rabbit hole. They are extremely interesting, and like his dynamic with how he presents the cases and whatnot. It's pretty cool, pretty interesting. I highly recommend. When I started true crime, this was before this channel was created and whatnot, mid last year and whatnot, I reached out to him and I asked him if I could like review and react to his content, and he said yes, like no problem at all. And I never forgot that. I always thought that was pretty cool. So check out his content again. That's that chapter. If you're interested, let me know in chat. I will post the link to his YouTube, or if you just want to look it up yourself, that's that chapter. Interesting dude. But nonetheless, I remember seeing a case that he talked about on one of his videos, and it was about I guess it was like an ex-army, or he was like a vet and whatnot, but that person murdered like 4 or 5 people, and it was because one of the guys that was in the group and whatnot was going to testify against him of these horrendous crimes that he had committed, and he murdered him and two other witnesses to the crime that were going to testify against him in extremely brutal manner. Like, one of them was in a car. He like killed them and burned them. They completely murdered 2 of them in a house. Murdered 2 others in another house that had absolutely nothing to do with it, but were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. And again, why I talk about this specific case, it's because they were, again, witnesses that were most definitely going to be able to put that guy into jail for a very long time. And yeah, he just made it a whole lot worse for him, because not only did authorities and investigators discover that he had committed the crimes, also the crimes that he was being accused of, they were able to confirm that he really did do those crimes. And it was just a clusterfuck of just charges that were just like he was charged with a whole lot, and that just felt great to see. The link again of why I'm talking about that case, repeat it one more time, is because that is what happened in this case. They killed her because she was pressing charges. She went to the police and reported sexual assault against her by she's 17, a 36-year-old man, I guess. And he had his feelings hurt because of it, because of course. And he decided that the best route to take was to kill her. Hired 2 people, and now they're all facing charges. Yikes.
It hurts so bad because I can picture her face right now.
Now the Hernando County Sheriff's Office says they've charged those who they believe were involved in her death. They say Scavelli came to deputies February 6th to report she had been sexually battered by a man named Leonard White. Hernando Sheriff Al Nienhuis says the next day, 2 men came to Scavelli's house and shot her to death. A family member was also shot but survived. The sheriff says White paid Sheldon Robinson $10,000 to murder the girl, and then Robinson, in turn, asked for help online, offering cocaine and money for what he called a cleanup job.
And here's a social media picture that Robinson put out soliciting help with this particular murder.
Investigators say known gang member Keyshawn
Wow.
Woods took the offer, and he and Robinson opened fire when Scavelli opened the front door.
She was a good kid with a very bright future, and to see her life cut short is heart-wrenching, to say the least.
Prosecutors have not yet said if they'll ask for the death penalty in this case. The sheriff says he hopes this won't discourage others from coming forward to report crimes, and they want you to see the men's arrest photos in case you have more information that can help with the investigation.
These are obviously people that, if true, if convicted, they are not scared to use force to prevent prosecution, up to and including murder. So we're going to do everything we can to keep any witnesses that come forward safe.
In Brooksville, Eric Waxler, ABC Action News.
Yikes. All for coming forward. Man. I guess that's probably how he referred to himself as. We're going to Jacksonville. Title says gunman in Jacksonville kills 3 in racially motivated shooting on anniversary of March in Washington. Published August 28th, 2023, and this is in Jacksonville, Florida. And it says, a gunman opened fire in a Dollar General over the weekend, killing 3 people and himself in what law enforcement said was racially motivated crime. According to Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters, on Saturday, August 26th, at 12:48 p.m., the suspect pulled into the parking lot at Edward Waters University in a Honda Element and put on a bulletproof vest. Edward Waters University is a historically black college and was the first of its kind established in Florida. Minutes later, a school security officer pulled into the same parking lot and followed him as the suspect drove away. The security guard contacted the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office to report a suspicious man on campus and started drafting a BOLO, which is a be on the lookout, for the suspect's car. While doing that, the shooting started at Dollar General. The man was armed with a Glock handgun and an AR-15 style rifle. WJXT-TV reports one of the firearms had swastikas drawn on it. At 1:08 p.m., an 11-round shot spotter alert went out when the shooter fired rounds into a black Kia in the parking lot, killing 52-year-old Angela Carr. He walked into the store and fatally shot 19-year-old AJ Laguerre as he tried to run to safety. Other people inside exited out a back door to safety. The suspect, who the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office identified as 21-year-old Ryan Christopher Palmeter, aimed at security cameras but missed. At 1:10 p.m., Gerald Gallion and his girlfriend walked into Dollar General, and Palmeter shot him 3 minutes later. His girlfriend managed to escape. The suspect fired rounds out the back door where other customers went, but Waters said no one else was struck by gunfire. At 1:14 p.m., the suspect walked into an office and texted his father saying, "Use a screwdriver to get into my room." The father walked in and found the suspect's last will and testament, as well as a suicide note typed out on his computer. Deputies arrived minutes later after the shot spotter alert went out, and as they walked into Dollar General, they heard a single gunshot. Waters said he believes that is when Paul Meter shot himself. SWAT officers confirmed at 3:44 p.m. the suspect was deceased. Waters said he purchased all the firearms legally. In an earlier news conference, Waters said all 3 victims are black. Palmeter reportedly wrote 3 manifestos, one to his parents, one to the media, and one to federal agents. Waters said the writings detail the shooter's disgusting ideology of hate. He added, plainly put, this shooting was racially motivated. He wanted to kill black people. Waters said he was not part of a larger white supremacist group and that he acted alone. Waters described the manifestos as the diary of a madman. He lived with his parents in Clay County, and Waters said his parents did not want him in their house. He was detained on a Baker Act in 2017, which is a 72-hour hold for mental health purposes. One point of eligibility to be held on a Baker Act is there is a substantial likelihood that without care or treatment, the person will cause serious bodily harm to himself, or others in the near future, as evidenced by recent behavior. The mass shooting in Jacksonville occurred the same day as the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington, commemorating Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. Waters said, we stand united against all forms of hate. I mean, if you haven't heard about this case, then you probably don't watch the news. This has been talked about for a few days now. And, yeah, there's a lot of TikTok videos about it. I don't know, man. Racism is weird. It's not only is it like disgusting and just like completely out of place, but on top of that, it's lazy and it's I don't know. I mean, listen, I've had my fair share of experiences with racism, and all I can say is my own personal opinion says more about the person doing it than me, who's the person receiving it. It's gotten to a point where I give 2 shits. I don't really care. Like, it's just I'm about racist things that are said to me, which, you know, again, I've had my fair share of it. It's weird because you do all this and it's just like this whole like you're like fixated on race and shit, and I think you fail to realize that like, we all rot the same at the end of the day. I'm confused. Is it different? Because we all die the same. It's the same procedure. We go through the same thing, and you rot in the same way. You piss and poop like everyone else. So it just fucking confuses me very, very much. And it's not only disgusting, but it's like irrational. We're 2023 and we're still having to deal with situations like this. People still have to deal with other people's racism and just pure hate. That shit is lazy as fuck. Whatever, man. I hope the family is able to get some sort of peace. Families that were affected by this. And, yeah. It's going to take us human beings a very long time to be able to break this chain of racism and racially motivated things. Like, it's I don't understand human beings sometimes. We're fucking weird. We're going to Florida now. It says a woman allegedly killed elderly roommate, poured Mountain Dew on herself to hide evidence. True Crime Daily, published August 16th, 2023. This is in Daytona Beach, Florida. A 35-year-old woman faces murder and other charges after she allegedly stabbed her 80-year-old roommate to death, tried to hide evidence, and attacked officers resisting her. No. Because that's not what it says. That doesn't make any sense. Start over again. To better give you information, A, B, and I cut these for TikTok, so it wouldn't make any sense if the sentence in and of itself doesn't make sense. So start over again. It says, we're going to Florida. Woman allegedly killed elderly roommate, poured Mountain Dew on herself to hide evidence. True Crime Daily, published August 16th, 2023. This is in Daytona Beach, Florida. And it says, a 35-year-old woman faces murder and other charges after she allegedly stabbed her 80-year-old roommate to death, tried to hide evidence, and attacked officers arresting her. Volusia County court records show Nicole Max was charged August 16th with 1 count of first-degree murder and arson of a dwelling. She was previously charged in July with tampering with physical evidence and resisting an officer with violence. According to Max's affidavit, on Saturday, July 1st, at 1:46 a.m., someone waved down a Daytona Beach Police Department sergeant due to a house fire at a residence on Clark Street. Police and fire personnel arrived at the scene, and when firefighters got in the home, they found a man with blunt force trauma injuries to the back of his head and stab wounds to his torso. Paramedics pronounced the victim, 80-year-old Michael Cerasoli, deceased. After firefighters extinguished the blaze, detectives obtained a search warrant for the residence and found a bloody knife near Cerasoli's body and blood near Max's room. Detectives also discovered 2 cell phones in the room. One was plugged in and placed on the bed, while the other was on the windowsill with a knife on it. Investigators learned the phone on the bed was Cerasoli's and the other belonged to Max. Max wasn't home when the police and fire departments got there. A detective located her at about 3:30 a.m., standing near a restaurant without shoes on. She allegedly was still holding a knife and a hammer, which she dropped when the detective ordered her to. According to the affidavit, Max had blood on her body and shirt. When speaking with detectives, Max allegedly changed her story multiple times and said she had been homeless for about 4 years. She claimed she had gone to the hospital earlier that day because she had a panic attack while running on a treadmill. She reportedly denied knowing Cerasoli, then admitted she lived with him. The affidavit says Max admitted she was at the residence with the victim, then changed her story multiple times on when she and the victim were together. Max admits she is not homeless and resides at the residence with the victim. Max allegedly said she never went into Cerasoli's room, but she goes upstairs to feed her spiders. She then allegedly claimed Cerasoli picked her up from the hospital, and no one else was at their home the day of the killing. When the detective asked Max why she had a knife and hammer in her possession, she reportedly denied carrying these items and then changed her story and admitted she carries a knife, but she retrieved the hammer from her closet tonight. Officers escorted her to the patrol car and informed her they would take her DNA after obtaining a warrant for it. Max requested a drink, and an officer handed her a Diet Mountain Dew. She allegedly began to procrastinate while drinking the soft drink, and when the officer tried to take the can away, she began to resist and began pouring the can of soda all over her body and hair, and pulling away from officers in attempts to interfere with the possible evidence on Max's body. She allegedly began pulling and kicking officers while they were trying to secure Max in the vehicle. Forensic reports showed Max's DNA on the handle of the knife found in Cerasoli's room, and his DNA was on the blade. Court records show a mental exam was ordered August 14th. Wow, it's Diet Mountain Dew. Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew? Wow. We're going to Florida. Title says, Domino's delivery driver fatally shot during robbery on his second day of work. Damn. True Crime Daily, published January 12, 2024, and this is in West Palm Beach. And it says, Police arrested 2 men and a woman for allegedly shooting and killing a 33-year-old man who had just delivered pizza to a birthday party. West Palm Beach Police Department spokesman Mike Jackless said in a video police officers responded to 9th Street and Douglas Avenue on Tuesday, January 9th at 12:50 p.m. and found a male victim who had been obviously shot. Officers attempted life-saving measures on the man until the West Palm Beach Fire Department arrived and transported him to the hospital, where he died. WPTV-TV identified the man as Tommy Anderson III. Jackless said Anderson was shot right after he completed a delivery to a birthday party in the area. Investigators reportedly do not believe the shooting is connected to the party where he dropped off the pizzas. WPTV reports 25-year-old Elijah Wingfield, 25-year-old Aviana Williams, and 29-year-old Marcus Williams were arrested Wednesday, January 10th, on charges of first-degree murder with a firearm. According to the arrest affidavit, surveillance video showed a white Honda with a unique dent on the rear door of the driver's side, and one of the people in the car was reportedly wearing a round hockey-styled mask. At one point, the Honda reportedly pulled up directly next to Anderson's car. Wingfield allegedly had a 9mm handgun and a semi-automatic gun in his possession, while Marcus Williams was reportedly carrying a large knife and AR-15 rifle. The affidavit alleges Aviana Williams drove the Honda, and Wingfield saw Anderson near his car. Wingfield allegedly said, "Let's see what he's got," and he and Marcus Williams exited the car. The men reportedly approached Anderson, and Wingfield said, "I ain't playing with you. This ain't a game." Marcus Williams said Wingfield shot Anderson 3 times. They saw Anderson fall to the ground. Then they drove off. Marcus Williams and Wingfield both admitted to wearing black ski masks during the robbery. Wingfield told police he robbed Anderson because he was expecting a paycheck which he didn't receive. Anderson's father, Tommy Anderson Jr., spoke with WPTV and said Anderson was the father of a 6-year-old and a 13-year-old. Tuesday was reportedly only his 2nd day on the job. Anderson Jr. said he was just trying to make ends meet for my 2 grandkids. That's all he was trying to do. Wow. 2nd day on the job. They robbed him for pizza and a supposed paycheck that he was supposed to be receiving, but it was only his 2nd day on the job. I'm thoroughly confused as to what these individuals thought they were doing. For delivering a pizza. Isn't that something, huh? What did they think he had? Like, how much money could someone delivering a pizza have that would be substantial enough for you to rob him when you have weapons that aren't necessarily cheap? So I'm confused. Are you robbing him to try to make the money back for the money you spent on all the guns that you bought? Jeez, 2nd day on the job. That's insane. I'm telling you, people are losing their minds. Let's see if we have any video here. Okay, this is from CBS 12 News. Let's see what they have to say.
50 Tuesday afternoon, the West Palm Beach at 12:50 Tuesday afternoon, the West Palm Beach Police Department received a 911 call that a person was shot at 9th and Douglas. When our officers arrived on scene, they found a man lying in the road. He had obviously been shot. Officers immediately began CPR. They began life-saving measures. The West Palm Beach Fire Department took the man to St. Mary's Medical Center, where he was unfortunately pronounced dead shortly after arrival. West Palm Beach Police homicide detectives have released that the man was a pizza delivery driver for Domino's Pizza. He had just completed a delivery to an apartment at 9th and Douglas when there was some type of altercation outside after that delivery. We don't believe that altercation involved the delivery. We don't believe that altercation involved the location where that delivery was made. That was for a birthday party. But once that pizza delivery man made the delivery and left, something happened that led to the shooting. So that is currently what our detectives are focusing on. And they're currently asking anybody that might have any information to call the West Palm Beach Police at 561-822-1900, or if you have information or have video from the area just before 1 o'clock at 9th and Douglas that might yield some evidence, you can call Crime Stoppers of Palm Beach County. That number is 1-800-458-TIPS, 1-800-458-8477. Information called into Crime Stoppers that leads to an arrest can result in a cash reward for the tipster. So currently, that's what we have. It's an active investigation. Detectives have recovered some evidence. There were some shell casings that were recovered at the scene. And we currently have an investigation going on into the death of this pizza delivery man who is believed to be from Riviera Beach.
Damn, can't even deliver a pizza, huh? Betty, how are you doing today? Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for being here. Very sad. Damn. Second day on the job, trying to take care of his 2 kids. Robbed a pizza delivery guy. That's insane. I mean, I don't know. Our business is going to, in open carry states, they're going to have to start providing weapons to their delivery drivers, because it's not the first time this happens. And whether it's problems with like Uber Eats or something like that, or people that work for Uber Eats having issues with people that order food and whatnot, I don't know. I think we're going to have to get to that point. That's great to hear, Betty, that you're doing well. It is a gray, rainy, dark day here in Northern California, which is wonderful. I might add, it's just a little too cold for my taste. We're going to Florida. Title says, Florida man allegedly showed gun at football game because parent said their son was better than his. Published October 6th, 2023. This is True Crime Daily, and we're going to Leesburg, Florida. And it says, police took a 40-year-old man into custody after he allegedly retrieved his gun at a youth football game because a parent from the opposing team said their son was better than his. According to a probable cause affidavit, on September 30th at 6:46 p.m., Leesburg police responded to Leesburg High School after several people called to report a man carrying a gun on campus and threatening people. The suspect, who police identified as Kwan Asom, allegedly tried to leave the scene in a gray Dodge pickup truck. Officers, however, arrived in time to conduct a traffic stop in the school's parking lot. Police told Isom and his wife to get out of the car. His wife exited the vehicle, cooperated with commands, and informed police Isom had a gun. Isom allegedly began arguing with police and even threatened to kill the canine on scene. Once he exited the car, he reportedly refused to get on the ground when ordered to by police, so he was eventually escorted to the ground and detained. The affidavit said Isom's wife told police they attended the matchup because their young son plays in a Pop Warner football team, a youth league. The game was going on at the same time as the Leesburg High School homecoming. Isom allegedly argued with parents from the opposing team, which is when the parent made a remark about their son being better than his, and it upset the defendant. Isom allegedly walked back to his car, and spectators in the area saw him retrieve the gun and place it in his waistband. The parents subsequently fled the scene. Police wrote in the affidavit, Isom carelessly and openly displayed the firearm during the school-sanctioned event of homecoming and the Pop Warner football game. Isom's wife reportedly rushed to him and urged him to calm down and get in the truck. His wife reportedly told the responding officers she made Isom place the gun under the driver's seat. She said Isom was drunk, which police confirmed after finding empty beer bottles and whiskey. Police also located a revolver that was ready to fire due to the location of the round in the cylinder. Isom has 11 prior convictions, so by law, he is not allowed to own a gun. Lake County jail records show Isom was booked on charges of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of a gun on school property, carelessly exhibiting a weapon, and resisting without violence. His bond is set at $40,000. People need to calm down, dude. They need to chill. It's not even that serious, dude. It's not. It's not. Dude, maybe the other kid is really better at football than this person's son. Who cares? Who cares? For you to take out a gun and threaten to kill someone because they said something that it's kind of in their right to say. People forget we have the First Amendment. I'm not understanding. I mean, albeit it is against. It's a First Amendment speech against government interference, or like, you know, government can't control your speech and whatnot. But I mean, it's not like he was insulting the person, or he was, you know, being racist, or any of the, what is it, 4 or 5 that you have to like stay away from completely and not do. Racism is one of them. He just said that his son was better than the other person's son. How many other people probably said the same thing too about each other's kids? It's not even that serious, and then that kid is just a few days from now, I probably would have never even remembered something like that. If he would not have said anything, his son would have never found out that some random dude said that their son was better than him. The kid would have never known. He would have lived his whole life without ever finding out about that situation. Probably would have been like 30, sitting on a dinner table with his parents, and his father would have probably brought that up out of nowhere. Hey, remember that time? I don't think I've ever told you this. This so-and-so happened, and this, and that, and that's it. But now, it's a whole thing over an argument that has absolutely no meaning to it. No consequences. It's inconsequential, has no bearing on the world. Hell, he could have been talking about anything, math, science, whatever the case may be. He probably was just trolling and just said it to be able to cause a reaction, and you took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. And now you have to deal with like Leo and going to court and all these court proceedings and whatnot because someone said that their son was better than yours. So quick to draw a gun. If you're so pissed off at that person, why not just fight them? You're too bare. Just do it like Friday. Just bop each other in the head. Have a fair fight. But you take out a gun, dude, and that's just you proving that A, you don't know how to fight, and B, you're only way of escaping a problem is by causing an even bigger one. So sad. A good thing no one was hurt. A good thing he didn't discharge that weapon. It's a good thing that no one was killed. This could all be, you know, resolved either with him being in jail for a few weeks, or probably take like a plea deal, whatever the case may be, bail, whatever. I hope he learned his lesson and he doesn't do it again. I mean, mind you, this person had 11 prior convictions. So the fact that he even had a gun just added another conviction to his 11. So what is it, 12, 13 now? Fucking dumb, dude. So dumb. So dumb. Again, all for someone that is probably going to go home and make fun of you because of this. And that's it. And you have to deal with all this, and that other person's going to be living their life. Not a care in the world. Calm down. Just got to calm down. It's not even that serious. It's not worth it. We are going to Miami. The title says 3 accused of kidnapping man, waterboarding him after realizing he wasn't the intended victim. True Crime Daily, published October 17th, 2023. And it says 2 brothers and another man allegedly kidnapped an individual and threatened to kill him after realizing he wasn't the intended victim. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida, on Friday, October 13th, Jeffrey Arista, Jonathan Arista, and Raymond Gomez forcefully abducted the victim outside his apartment and transported him to an Airbnb in Plantation, Florida. There, they realized they had abducted the wrong person and allegedly began assaulting him. WTVJ TV reports that one of the defendants forced the victim into a white Dodge Charger while wearing a police uniform, a ballistic vest, and a gold badge on his belt. Another defendant allegedly drove the vehicle with a police light. During transport, the 2 reportedly made the victim wear a head covering as they drove him to the Airbnb, and they threw his phone out of the vehicle. According to the affidavit obtained by WTVJ, the 3rd kidnapper met them at the Airbnb, removed the victim's mask, and asked for his name, implying they had kidnapped the wrong individual. The defendants reportedly took the victim's ID from his wallet and discovered they had the wrong person. According to WTVJ, the trio intended to kidnap the victim's strip club worker instead. After realizing they had the wrong person, the kidnappers reportedly brought the man into a bathroom, covered his face with several black masks, and began waterboarding him. The attorney's office said they also threatened his life, aiming firearms, tasers, and an electric drill at him. The suspects reportedly learned the intended target worked at the Booby Trap Gentlemen's Club with the victim, so they drove him there in a Porsche. According to the attorney's office, the kidnappers ordered the victim to go into the business and lure out the intended target. However, once inside, the victim called law enforcement, and officials apprehended the alleged kidnappers. In an interview, WTVJ reports that Gomez told investigators that he and the Arista brothers were taking orders from another individual because the intended victim owed a monetary debt. The 3 defendants face federal charges of kidnapping and conspiracy to kidnap. Jeffrey Arista and Jonathan Arista appeared in federal court Monday, October 16th. Gomez has not yet appeared in court. The 3 suspects each face a maximum sentence of life in prison if convicted. Wow. It's probably 3 of the dumbest criminals we've ever read a case about. And why did they have to waterboard him? It's like, if you already made the mistake of getting the wrong person, why would you torture him? It's your fault. You made the mistake. You kidnapped the wrong person. You weren't even smart enough to pinpoint the correct person that you're going to commit this crime against. So you did all this. He dressed up like a police officer. I don't know what the hell it is in Florida that people like to dress up and act like law enforcement. I remember following a few years back the case of Jeremy DeWitt. I don't know if you guys know who it is. Let me know in chat. If you live in Florida, you know who this person is. He was meandering around Florida, and he would just pose as cops and shit, and he stopped people, and he ended up getting into a lot of trouble because of it. I don't think he ever. I mean, he did commit some crimes, but I don't think he ever got to the point of killing anyone or intentionally kidnapping someone and waterboarding them. But he did pose as an officer, and I have seen other videos on YouTube about people that like to pose as law enforcement. And coincidentally, it's in Florida, so I don't know. Maybe is if you're in Florida, is there a law that permits this to happen? Can you pose as police officers? I don't know. I don't think you can do that here in California. I don't think that's a thing you can do in any state, but I don't know. If you're in Florida and you're watching this video, let me know in the comment section. If you're watching it later on, if you're here in the live stream, let me know in chat. Why does this happen so much there? Nonetheless, they dressed up as fake police officers, and they abducted this person. Again, it's the wrong individual. But instead of just letting them go, like, you could have just done the same thing again and just, like, covered his face or whatever. But if this was the whole thing, they took his mask off so he saw who they were. So they weren't even smart enough to cover their faces when they took his mask off, when they wanted to figure out who the individual that they had just kidnapped was, because they had a hunch that they had kidnapped the wrong person. So they weren't even smart enough to put a mask on to cover their own faces. So this is just like dumb motherfuckers all around. Wow. Yeah, I'm glad they're in jail. They deserve it for the crimes committed and for just being obnoxiously stupid. Wow. You waterboarded someone because you made a mistake. That's the stupidest thing ever. It's like, what did you think was going to happen? A lot of these cases that we read, that's the only thing I can think about. It's like, what did you think was going to happen? They took him back to the gentleman's club, and they were going to use him as bait to try to get the person that they were originally going to kidnap to try to come out. My guy, what did you think was going to happen? He was going to do it willingly? No, he called the police. And you guys are in jail now. You waterboarded him. Like, you literally tortured the guy for your own mistake. You know what the worst part is? Stupid is forever. Because stupid has been around since the dawn of mankind, and will continue to be until we are no longer part of this world. And who knows when that's going to happen? I mean, at the rate we're going, but who knows when that'll happen? And stupid will live on forever. Hell, we'll be erased from this earth, and stupid will still find a way to make its way into the nothingness that'll be left in the world. Wow. Alright. NBCMiami.com. Trio kidnapped, waterboarded Broward man after mistaking him for co-worker. Alright, let's watch this short video. It's about 2 minutes and 31 seconds. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for your continued support. Please join the Discord. Link in the description box if you're watching me on YouTube. You can use your Amazon Prime on Twitch if you want to further support me. Join my Patreon community. I would definitely love that. That would help me out immensely. That's $1 a month, and you get a whole bunch of benefits. Follow me over on TikTok, and that's about it. Let's watch this video together. Oh, sorry.
Say they kidnapped someone. 3 men jailed in Broward County tonight after police say they kidnapped someone and threatened that person.
Detectives say that those 3 men kidnapped the wrong person. NBC6's Nico Clemens is on tonight with the story. Nico.
Juwan, Trina, imagine how terrifying, how shocking this was for this victim. Police say they got the wrong guy, they kidnapped the wrong guy, but instead of letting him go, they tortured him. And detectives say the person...
I apologize. I've just been talking about this, and I am not 100% sure if you are aware of what waterboarding is. If you do not know what it is, we're going to learn about it really quickly. Just take a quick turn before we finish watching this video. Okay. Waterboarding is a form of torture in which water is poured over a cloth covering the face and breathing passages of an immobilized captive, causing the person to experience the sensation of drowning. So, just so that we can be on the same page of just how bad that it's considered a way of torture. Like, there are laws against waterboarding. Okay, so the most common method of waterboarding, the captive's face is covered with cloth or some other thin material and immobilized on their back at an incline of 10 to 20 degrees. Torturers pour water onto the face over the breathing passages, causing an almost immediate gag reflex and creating a drowning sensation for the captive. Normally, water is poured intermittently to prevent death. However, if the water is poured uninterruptedly, it will lead to death by asphyxia. Waterboarding can cause extreme pain, damage to lungs, brain damage from oxygen deprivation, other physical injuries including broken bones due to struggling against restraints, and lasting psychological damage. Adverse physical effects can last for months, and psychological effects for years. The term waterboard torture appeared in press reports as early as 1976. Listen to this part. Waterboarding has been used in diverse places and at various points in history, including the Spanish and Flemish Inquisitions, by the United States military during the Philippine-American War, by Japanese and German officials during World War II, by the French in the Algerian War, by the U.S. during the Vietnam War and the War on Terror, by the Pinochet regime in Chile, by the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia, by British security forces during the Troubles, and by South African police during the apartheid era. Historically, waterboarding has been viewed as an especially severe form of torture. And those three individuals kidnapped this person by, they kidnapped the wrong person, and instead of just letting that person go, or skipping the waterboarding part and just forcing that person to try to get, which still wouldn't have worked anyway, but they would have at least tried doing it in that manner maybe. But no, they used one of the most extreme forms of torture that can be done to a human being. I don't even know the reason why. They made the mistake, so there isn't a specific, purpose as to why they did that. It doesn't really make any sense, but alright, just wanted you guys to know what waterboarding is. Let me know in chat what your thoughts are. I mean, it's pretty heinous. I just hope you heard specifically examples of when waterboarding was used. War on Terror would be like the most recent one where waterboarding was mentioned. I'm not going to go into that, but definitely Google it. The beautiful part about everything, guys, is that we live, what a time to be alive, because we live in a time where we have information at the tip of our fingertips, and you can look for, research, read on, hear, view anything about anything in regards to whatever that your heart feels like wanting to read about. It's at your disposal, at your fingertips. All you have to do is have the willingness to type or click in whatever it is that you're trying to look for into a search bar, and the world again is at your fingertips because you will have that information instantaneously. Use it. Best thing you can do. I mentioned that again because of the topic of waterboarding and why and how it has been used across history as recent as the War on Terror, like we just read about. Just to not go into what the War on Terror is or anything, just please look it up. Google it, whatever search engine you use. Information is there, and it's there for you to read. So, or view if you want to watch a video, a documentary about it. There's some great documentaries. I don't promote anything because this isn't a paid advertisement, live stream or anything, but I do enjoy documentary.com, and I enjoy documentaries in and of themselves. So check them out. They have a really good selection of documentaries, and YouTube has thousands of them as well, about any topic that you're trying to look for. So there is no excuse for ignorance and not knowing about things when you have a smartphone on your hands and you're, on social media, whatever the case may be. Hell, even on social media, you can look for things and you'll find videos about it. So there's no excuse for not knowing. That's your little PSA of the moment. Let us finish watching this video and we'll move on to the next case.
They were searching for was his coworker.
A man kidnapped while leaving his Fort Lauderdale apartment last Friday. Detectives say the man was walking to his car inside the garage at Society Las Olas Apartments on Southwest 1st Avenue when one of the kidnappers walked up to him holding a gun, wearing a mask and a police outfit, and forced him into a car with another kidnapper. Police say they drove the victim to a rental property in Plantation and realized they abducted the wrong person. But instead of releasing him, police say the kidnappers threatened to kill the victim while pointing guns and other weapons at him. The criminal complaint says at one point the kidnappers covered the victim's face and poured buckets of water on him. The complaint says the victim thought he was going to drown.
Dude, tortured him.
So detectives say the kidnappers learned that the person they were searching for was at a Pompano Beach strip club. So they brought the victim here.
The offender admitted to taking part in the kidnapping.
Police say the kidnappers tried to get the victim to lure his coworker out the business, but once he went inside the club, he called 911.
They're brothers.
Deputies arrested Jeffrey Arista and his brother, Jonathan Arista. Raymond Gomez was also charged in the crime. While in court, one of the attorneys for one of the brothers seemed to joke about the kidnapping.
I gotta tell you, Judge, in the history of kidnappings, this will be the first time someone gets kidnapped and taken to a strip club. I gotta tell you, I've never heard of that before.
Outside Society Las Olas, people who live at the apartment are stunned.
I'm surprised that nobody saw this going on, so it sounds like they need to tighten up security more.
If people could get kidnapped, I could easily get robbed.
So the criminal complaint says the victim's coworker allegedly owed the kidnappers money. The two brothers, they were in court. That's what you saw just a few seconds ago. Gomez, he has not gone before a judge yet, but all three, they still remain in jail. In Miami, Nico Clemens, NBC6 News.
All right,
Yeah, my guy, you can get robbed. Yeah. Yeah, you can get robbed. Yeah. That's crazy. They threatened his life. They aimed firearm tasers and an electric drill at him. Wow, dude. They waterboarded him. Like they tortured him for no reason other than that's it. That was a reason. I just mentioned it. Like other than that's it. Period. Wow. Damn. Hopefully they do end up being convicted and they are charged with life sentences. Gotta keep that out of the streets. It's crazy. We're going to Florida. Title says, police seek husband of woman whose remains were identified 15 years after discovery in Florida shallow grave. This was published August 4th, 2023, True Crime Daily, and this is in Sarasota County, Florida. And it says, officials are searching for answers about a couple after investigators positively identified a woman who was found dead in a shallow grave over 15 years ago. According to the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, on February 6th, 2007, authorities discovered a woman's skeletal remains in a wooded area near Ashton Court, but her identity remained unknown, and the case went cold. More than a decade after the discovery, in November 2022, the Sheriff's Office began working with DNA labs and used genetic genealogy and DNA testing to help identify the victim. In an August 2nd news release, the Sheriff's Office identified the victim as 39-year-old Gianna Lynn Burrus. She reportedly lived on the 6200 block of Pauline Avenue in Sarasota with her husband, James Burrus, and son, James Burrus Jr. James Burrus worked at a local auto shop, and her son was in elementary school around the time she died. Her family, however, never reported her missing, which the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office said complicated the investigation. According to WVTV, investigators were ultimately able to identify Gianna Lynn Boris once they removed calcium from the bones. Sarasota County Sheriff's Office Lieutenant Mark Lefebvre told WWTV the bones indicate it was not a natural cause of death. Gianna Lynn Boris and James Boris were reportedly struggling around the time she died and had a very volatile relationship. Their remains were allegedly discovered near the body shop where James Boris worked. Boris allegedly created stories about his wife's whereabouts. Lefebvre told WVTV he had different versions, honestly, of what happened to their relationship, but when he sat with detectives, he provided no details. He gave no information. Investigators reportedly searched the body shop where Boris worked this year, but didn't find any significant evidence. The sheriff's office said the couple lived in Citrus County, Florida, as well as Frederick, Maryland, before moving to Sarasota County. Detectives have asked anyone familiar with the victim or her husband to contact the sheriff's office. Second one we read tonight. Second one. Listen, you guys do this, commit these crimes, and you think that it won't be discovered. And I will give you that some of them are cold cases that are never solved, but a lot of them do end up being solved. And with the power of technology and just how much we've advanced when it comes to genealogy, like we just mentioned we just read here, genetic genealogy, to be able to help identify the victim. It's not the 80s anymore, where it would take extensive periods of time and they didn't have the resources to be able to analyze things as quickly as they can now. It's 2023, baby. We've come a long way when it comes to investigations and whatnot and how they're conducted. So, yeah. Mind you, this was a very long time ago. This was in 2007. Another case of someone that thought that they were going to ride that wave of luck for the rest of their lives, and just he probably lived life thinking that he did it and he was never going to get caught. And boy, was he wrong. Yes, he was. Alrighty, let's see what Fox13News.com has to say. Because the title says Sarasota cold case. Husband named person of interest after wife's skeletal remains identified 16 years later. So let's see what they say. Boo. I had to take the ad blocker off. I thought I had already taken it off of Fox. Sometimes True Crime Daily uses Fox News. But I think it's because this is the one from Sarasota. And, oh no, this is Tampa Bay Fox News. I don't understand why. How many of these am I supposed to take the ad blocker off of? I don't get it. I thought maybe if I did it to like one or two, it would work like with all the other ones, but I have to individually take it off of each one, which is fine, I guess, to a certain point. If not, they start auto playing and shit. But yeah, whatever. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But here's a picture of them. Damn. Guessing this is where they found her remains. Yeah. Crime scene tape surrounded the wooded area off of Ashton Court back in 2007. Dang, and they did it through the calcium in her bones. Crazy. Alright, let's watch the video.
16 years, the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office worked to put a name and a face to remains that were found in a wooded area. Through advancements in DNA technology, they have identified them as Gina Burrows. The Sheriff's Office says her husband, James Burrows, is a person of interest in her death.
Yeah, but as Fox 13's Kimberly Quizon reports for us, deputies and Gina's aunt and uncle are now asking for help from the community to help close this case.
From a single photo, Gina Burrows and her husband, James, along with their son, appear happy. But but a photo only shows a snapshot of a moment.
They were just struggling at the time, and they had a very volatile relationship.
Sarasota County deputies say in 2006, James left Sarasota abruptly and without his wife. In February of 2007, bones were found off Ashton Court in a shallow grave just behind the auto body shop where James worked as a mechanic.
The bones indicate that it was not a natural cause of death.
Calcium on the bones made it difficult to pull DNA, but deputies never gave up. Last November, a new process from DNA Labs International identified the remains as Gina.
Once that calcium was removed, they had now had a much readable, clearer picture of a DNA sample. And from there, it was able to go into family tree and genetic genealogy.
Lieutenant Mark Lefevre says over the years, James crafted tales of where Gina went.
He had different versions, honestly, of what happened to the relationship. But when he
Oh,
sat
shit, I
with
think I said the name
detectives,
wrong.
he provided no details.
And he told those stories to Gina's aunt and uncle.
It's something you don't want to have happen to anybody.
By phone from Maryland, Claire Wiedmeyer and his wife June Gray remembered their niece.
She was a very loving, fun, a warm person. She really had a lot to do with family.
Deputies say James Burris is a person of interest in the case, and Gina's uncle hopes the community will step up to help.
Or someone has to know something. People just don't disappear.
Kimberly Quizon, Fox 13 News.
Now, deputies say the couple only lived in Sarasota for a short time, less than 2 years, but their son went to school at Gulf Gate Elementary. They're hoping somebody will remember something.
Damn. It's hard to get information too, given that the case happened such a long time ago. It was 2007. Like, who knows if like those people are even willing to talk, if they would have had like information that would help the case. But very sad, very sad. I definitely butchered her name, but I didn't think that her name was Gina, because it's Jeana, so it's not Gianna, it is Gina. But I'm used to seeing it Gina, so I don't know, my bad. I didn't mean to butcher her name like that. All right, for this one we are going, what is it? I think it's Florida? Is it? Yeah. We're going to Florida. Title says, man found guilty of setting ex's new boyfriend's house on fire and stabbing him more than 80 times. True Crime Daily, published December 14th, 2023. And this is in Jacksonville. Jurors found a man guilty this week of fatally stabbing his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend in 2021 after looking up how to kill someone with a knife. Florida State Attorney Melissa Nelson announced December 12th that the state is seeking the death penalty after a jury convicted Randall Brown of first-degree murder and armed burglary with assault or battery. According to the state attorney's office, on August 3rd, 2021, between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., the victim and his girlfriend, Kissy McKay, noticed the smell of gasoline and smoke and saw that the victim's front door was ablaze. Brown then reportedly attacked the victim and stabbed him more than 80 times. During the assault, the state attorney's office said Brown and the victim moved from the front door to the kitchen, even though the victim was defenseless. McKay eventually called 911 at approximately 3 a.m. Jacksonville Fire and Rescue responded to the home and performed life-saving measures on the victim, but he succumbed to his wounds. With the help of canines, officials found the suspect's shirt, a backpack, knife, and gas container near the home. They also found a GPS tracking device registered to Brown and blood in his vehicle. Further investigation revealed McKay used to date Brown, but she broke up with him a few weeks before the attack. According to the state attorney's office, McKay's son died around the time of the breakup, and McKay told Brown she was about to get rich, or she was about to be rich. Brown reportedly tried to get back together with McKay, but knew she was with another man. He reportedly placed a tracking device on his ex-girlfriend's car to find out where she was sleeping at night. Oh boy. The state attorney's office said investigators found out Brown had Googled how to kill someone with a knife, and he made other incriminating searches before and after the fatal stabbing. According to the state attorney's office, McKay changed her relationship status on Facebook just hours after the victim's death to show she was in a relationship with Brown. McKay was charged with accessory after the fact. I think that one of the worst things that, for example, Apple could have ever created was that tag. They didn't mention the Apple tag here, but I have read other cases that have to do with exes and deranged people putting trackers inside of people's cars and purses and personal items and whatnot. And it's just like a perfect example of technology that was intended to be used a certain way ended up just being completely awful for human beings. Because I mean, like, how many keys do you lose that you would have to have an air tag attached to it? But it's so easy to put this in a vehicle of someone and just track everything that they do. Let's see. That's rage. My motto in life is: before you do something to somebody, how would you feel if they did it to you? Exactly. I tried to tell my nephew that, but he didn't listen. He's in jail now, looking at a long prison sentence. Yikes. I know someone that's in prison as well for a very long time. It didn't commit like a murder or anything like that, but yeah, committed something extremely stupid, very stupid, thinking that he wasn't ever gonna get caught, and he got caught all right. He got caught in Florida, and he was trying to pull a Scarface with the yayo, and now he's in jail for a very long time. It was a lot. It was a lot. And it's just dumb people doing dumb things. When people are young, they think they know everything. Yeah. Which is what we're now finding out with these upcoming generations that are coming up. Just to like throw it out there, like the first one that pops into my head, the two teenagers that ran over the ex-police chief. I believe it was in Arizona or Utah. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's either or. They had stolen the vehicle. They had already ran over someone else, and then they saw this guy minding his own business on a bike, and they just ran him over and killed him. Minors, both. They just ran him over and killed him. And they recorded the whole thing. In their minds, they were going to get famous, TikTok famous, social media famous, by committing a murder. And that, coupled with the fact that these next generations, their goal in life is to be a content creator and a YouTuber, kind of gives us a clear indication that, yeah, we might not be going down a very good route. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they'll be the best generation in the world. But if we're taking it at face value right now, yeah, I feel I'm scared for the future. I'm scared for these upcoming generations because things have changed so much. And like I mentioned before, the value of life for many people has just gone down. And it's just like, not only are people not considerate towards other people, but like people are committing crimes and murders now that are for the worst and pettiest reasons. And that's very sad. Very sad. Let's see, remember that one? Yeah, they were seen joking and laughing in court. They were seen... well, one of them was, and then the other one did it, but the lifelessness behind those eyes. They say that the eyes are the windows to the soul. There was a certain point in the video when they were showing the court, that the whole court proceeding, where they showed one of them kind of like sideways in the camera, but you can tell that there was nothing behind those eyes. I'll give you an example. If you've seen the documentary Love Has Won, that crazy cult lady documentary, I mentioned it at the beginning of the stream, but they interview a member of the cult, and very rare instance of someone speaking into a camera, looking into it, and there's nothing there. There's nothing behind those eyes. It's just empty. And that's the same thing I saw with one of those two criminals during that court case. Yeah, it's that same non-emotion face that Chris Watts had during his court proceedings as well. Well, it's just nothing. That's scary. To me, that type of person is really, really scary to me. Do you guys know who Jesse Plemons is? Jesse Plemons, he's a famous actor. He is married to Kirsten Dunst. He was in Breaking Bad. More towards the last 2 seasons. It was like 4 and 5 or 5 and 6, something like that. A blonde dude. He is the nephew of, I forgot his name, like the main antagonist towards the end of Breaking Bad. But the guy has been in a whole bunch of other movies. He's the neighbor in Game Night. That type of person is the scariest to me. Outspoken people don't really do much for me when it comes to feeling that terror, but cool, calm, collected people that just have no emotion, but it still sends these shivers down your spine. His acting does that. And there's a trailer for a Civil War, that A24 movie that's going to come out next year. And he's in the movie. And there's just a little part. And yeah, dude, that type of villain is, to me, the worst. And it translates a lot into how people act, in general. Very scary. This person that stabbed his wife like that is the type of that sort of type of villain and whatnot. It's pretty scary. You have to go help with the wife. Thank you very much, Bush. I really appreciate that. Hope to see you here. I might or might not. I'm not 100% sure. I also have to run some errands with the wife as well. Hopefully I'll be able to do it earlier. But thank you very much, Bush. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you. Your time here is very much appreciated, and time in general is not really ours, it's borrowed, and the fact that you spent a minute here with me, it means the world to me. So thank you very much. Have a great day. Alright, we'll read this last one and then I'm going to head out too as well, unfortunately. We're going to Florida. Title says, Florida woman arrested for allegedly leaving son in hotel room with a dead man for several hours. True Crime Daily, published September 20th, 2023. And this is in Flagler County, Florida. It says, deputies arrested a 32-year-old woman who, after she allegedly left her 11-year-old son in a hotel room with a deceased man after she and the victim did drugs and had a sexual threesome with another man. According to the Flagler County Sheriff's Office, on the morning of Sunday, August 10th, deputies went to the Hammock Beach Resort after receiving a call about someone performing CPR on an unresponsive adult male. EMS arrived at the scene and pronounced the 60-year-old man deceased. Deputies reportedly noticed various narcotics and drug paraphernalia inside the hotel room and spoke with Amy Kemper, who confirmed there was drug use in the room overnight. Investigators learned Kemper's son had been in the hotel room while she did drugs with the victim and had a threesome with the victim and another man. Wow. The sheriff's office said Kemper noticed the victim was snoring unusually when she left the property with the other adult male, but decided to leave her child in the same room. When she and the other man returned hours later, the 60-year-old was dead. Kemper's charging documents identify the victim as Timothy Farinick. Kemper told deputies Farinick snorted cocaine, smoked marijuana, and took Viagra in the hours preceding his death. According to the affidavit, on Saturday, September 9th, Kemper, Farinick, and her friend Joseph Dowdy, a man named Brian, and another male went to a bar in Flagler Beach and stayed out until 2 a.m. Farinick and Kemper reportedly picked up her son from her mother's house. Then everyone met up at the hotel around 3 a.m. While in the room, Kemper reportedly put her son to sleep on a couch near the balcony doors in front of the bed. Kemper said all 5 adults were doing cocaine in the same room as the sleeping boy, but they kept the cocaine in the bathroom away from his sight. At some point, Dowdy and the other male left the room, so Kemper, Farinick, and Brian could have a sexual threesome. They reportedly tried to move the couch into a closet and shield the doors with a sheet so if the boy woke up, he would not see or hear the sexual activities occurring. At approximately 5 a.m., Kemper reportedly observed Timothy Farinick having what she believed was a medical episode and called for help. The affidavit says the exact time she called for help is unclear because conflicting times were reported through the investigation. She noticed his unusual snoring, then allegedly determined he was just sleeping. She and Dowdy left him in the hotel room to, quote-unquote, sleep it off, and drove to Daytona Beach to see a friend. When the two returned at 9:25 a.m., they knocked on the door and her son answered. She found Farinick unresponsive and cold on the bed and called 911. According to the court document, the son was left in the hotel room with the unresponsive Timothy, drug paraphernalia, and sex items for numerous hours. Investigators reportedly discovered numerous sex toys in the bathroom and condom wrappers on the bed. Kemper was arrested on a charge of neglect of a child without great bodily harm. She posted bond and was released September 18th. Her arraignment is scheduled for October 30th. Wow, Mom of the Year, huh? Mind you, that child was in the room with the dead man for 6 hours because they left at 3 a.m. and, they met up at the hotel at 3 a.m. They did what they did and they left, and she left the kid in the room. Listen, parents are supposed to take care of the kids. That's the whole point. But listen, you gotta be real with yourself. Obviously, this person is not taking this child's life into consideration at all. This person doesn't give a shit about their kid. I'm tempted to say that this person had a child because she didn't have another choice, and it was there, and it's like a nuisance for this person, for this person's existence, when in reality, kind of seems like she's the nuisance. CPS needs to do something with this child. There has to be something done. This child cannot be another percentage because of the bad parenting that's coming from this person. Isn't it enough? The world's already bad enough as it is, that we have to add to the fact that now these type of parents, I mean, they've always existed, but wow, the man was dead. 6 hours left in there. Like, how do you know that kid was sleeping the whole time? What if curiosity woke that kid up and that kid started like touching all these things and whatnot? I don't know, man. That child deserves better than the cards that life is giving him at this moment. I mean, yeah, I've said it here before. The importance of parenting. I don't think that clicks in people's minds. That's a human being. That's a person. It's not a carbon copy of you. It's not like an extension of you. It's not an illusion. It's an actual human being that's occupying space and deserves better than this, than a cocaine-filled sexual threesome parent. In this case, it's the mother, but let's be honest with you, shit, could be the mother or the father, doesn't matter. I don't know, the importance of like parenting, I guess it's just lost on people. Why did this person have to take the child from her mother's house? Kind of seems like the child was fine there. To have the child being under these circumstances, like, do you understand the what kind of mental state you have to be in to think that, oh, I'm gonna have a threesome with your child there. Like, wow, that is insane how people just suck as human beings. But luckily they have the inmate search here for this person, so fuck it, we'll just read a little bit about this guy. I mean, she posted bond though. Like, the fuck? How does this person post bond? But you can see the mugshots right here on top. I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can check it out. Bam! Oh, love it. Fucking love technology. Mother of the Year. Crazy. And then you wonder why there's like kids that grow up with trauma and stuff and are the ones causing stuff later on in the world, like when they grow up in their own lifetime. Like, why would you even think that couldn't be possible? It trickles down because it's trauma that's going to be prevalent in this child's life because of the things that he saw, which he didn't really have to. It was because of someone else's lack of understanding and a lack of good parenting. And yet there's people that insist on telling other people that they have to have kids. For this, is this what you want them to have kids for? Because let me tell you something. A lot of people do this shit. A lot of people are just like, they neglect their kids. We read the case the last time we did an episode about the vloggers. I mean, I don't know about their personal lives. They didn't talk about drugs at all during that case. Yet, I mean, they used rope and tape to wrap their kids up and shit and neglect them food and like beat them up and stuff like that. And the kids had already gone to authorities and had called CPS and no one listened to them. No one gave a shit because I guess it was the kids that were saying it until the lid was blown off and they had to admit that they were unresponsive. They didn't do anything about it. The trauma's already there. The wrong has already been done. And yeah, again, people insist on telling other people that they need to have kids without realizing, again, it's just the importance of it. If you can't have a kid, dude, don't have it. If you don't understand what goes with it, just don't have it. Or I don't know, give it up for adoption. But that's like another whole thing, because the adoption system in this country completely sucks. So it's another thing you can't really rely on, but nonetheless, Mom of the Year. I hope she gets all the bad that comes with it. I hope she gets it. And I really wish someone would intervene for that child. That child deserves a better future and a better way of living than what he's being given now. That's crazy. We're going to Florida. Title says, Florida woman sentenced for killing her mom, gouging her eyes out, and placing them on a cardboard box. True Crime Daily, published November 30th, 2023. And this is in Palm Beach County. And it says, a judge sentenced a woman to 15 years in prison for violently killing her mother 5 years ago and cutting her eyes out. Wow. WPTV TV reports Camille Bala pleaded guilty Monday, November 27th, to manslaughter with a weapon. She already has over 2,000 days of time served because she has been in custody since her arrest in 2018. So she will serve less than 10 years in state prison. Jail records show Bela was originally charged with first-degree premeditated murder. Bela was scheduled to stand trial Friday, December 1st. According to the probable cause affidavit, on March 16, 2018, at 1:40 a.m., the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office received a call from someone who said his co-worker, Bela, needed them to come over because Bela believed she may have murdered her mother. The co-worker went to Bela's residence on Country Club Way in Royal Palm Beach and found her covered in blood, so they called 911. Deputies arrived and said Bela appeared frantic. She reportedly told one of the responding deputies, "I killed my mother, and I need help." She said her mother was in the garage, so the deputy went inside and found a significant amount of blood spatter throughout the residence. The deputy made his way into the garage and discovered Francisca Monteiro Bela deceased. She was partially clothed with multiple large lacerations on her body. The affidavit says Monteiro's eyes had been removed from her head and placed on a nearby cardboard box. The fire department arrived at the scene to aid Bela, who also had lacerations on her body. She reportedly told officials she smoked cannabis but believed it was laced with flakka, a drug similar to bath salts, or PCP. According to the affidavit, Bela continuously mumbled, screamed, ran around, and eventually fell to the ground. While on the ground, Bela began to spontaneously scream, "I'm a murderer. I'm a murderer." She had cuts on her hands, knees, and fingers, so a deputy transported her to a nearby hospital. Investigators obtained a warrant to search Bela's home several hours later. A trail of blood reportedly led from the living room through the kitchen, where the amount of blood in the trail grew heavier, and into the garage. Investigators found Monteiro Bela with several large, deep lacerations and traumatic injuries throughout her body, including her head, arms, chest, stomach, and groin. The affidavit describes both of her eyes had been removed from their sockets. Several feet away from the victim was a cardboard box which had the victim's eyes on top. Wow. Detectives noticed broken glass that they believe caused the cut on Bela's hands and kneecaps. They also found notes with religious messages on them that related to clearing of the soul, as well as paper with cannabis on it. Wow. That's some horror movie shit right there. Wow. Removed both her eyes from her sockets. Isn't that something, huh? Not only did she commit the actual murder, but just to top it all off, she cut her mother's eyeballs out. I mean, obviously those are extremely heavy drugs. I have actually only ever heard that flakka mentioned only like once or twice. I think I heard it on the news and whatnot. I don't really know. I only smoke weed. That's about it. I'm pretty boring. I don't even drink alcohol or anything, so I'm not really so much up to date with any of these, I guess, new drugs that the people are into now. Or I don't know how long this has been around, but again, I'm probably one of the most boring people you're ever going to find, when it comes to that. And I had no idea that was something, but it's a drug similar to bath salts or PCP, and I don't know, by the stories I've heard of both of those drugs, it's pretty intense, and it does make people do some weird shit. I'm probably 10 years ago or something like that. I don't know if you guys remember the whole bath salts thing with the guy that supposedly ate the other person's face and whatnot, which ended up not being that at all. And it was just something that someone started saying at one point, and it just snowballed into this conspiracy theory that everyone just fell for. But the person that actually did commit the crime had some severe, mental health issues. So, no one talks about that part, but they made up the story of there being bath salts and shit. And you can look this up. This is public information. I'm not just pulling this out my ass. There's actually a pretty good documentary that explains it. You might find it on YouTube or on Hulu. I don't remember, but if I remember the name, I will post it on chat so that you guys can see it. But, well, why am I mentioning this? But, yeah, there are certain drugs that can just, I guess, confuse you so much that you could be capable of committing crimes. And, you know, I don't know if it's that you won't, like, know necessarily what you're doing, but, you know, do I blame drugs specifically? You know, in this case, no, probably like a 50%, 40%. There has to be other things underlying besides this. You know, there could well be some trauma behind all this. There could be a lot of things involved that we're only seeing the surface of it because we're just reading the case that happened, the consequences. But what caused it or what led it to this point is, I think, the most intriguing part of it. And we can only guess, I guess. We can only imagine it. We can only draw our own conclusions based off of what we just read, but we don't really know. We don't really know the backstory behind all this. But if we were to take it just at face value, based off of what we just read, yeah, I think it's a combination of drug use and underlying issues that were already there that I guess were exacerbated because of the drug consumption. I don't know. Let me know in chat. Let me know what you guys think. For this one, we will check out the news website, see what they have to say, see if they have any interesting video, which they do. This is from WPTV.com. I guess this is from West Palm Beach, Florida. Shout out Florida. Title says, a woman who gouged out mother's eyeballs, placed them on cardboard box, pleads guilty to manslaughter.
Southern weather is extreme and strong.
I wasn't counting on this ad, so I'm sorry. Let me make this a little bit bigger. We'll let it go through. Hopefully you guys can see this very well from here. Ad's almost over in about 10 seconds. I don't even have the option to take the ad off. So we have to go through the whole thing. I guess this is like a Windows solution. So there you go. If you need new Windows, just call that number. Just give you guys free promo. I'm not even getting a check for that.
With killing her mother in 2018 has pled guilty. Camille Baya pled guilty to a lesser charge of manslaughter with a weapon after investigators say she gouged her mother's eyes out. Baya was sentenced to 15 years in prison and another 15 years of probation.
That's it. That's pretty short. Let me see, does it have anything else? Another ad. Wow, they're really trying to get you to buy things, huh? Pretty short. I don't know why I had that weird a black square around it, but oh well, nonetheless. This is a perpetrator right here. Gouged their mom's eyes out. That's crazy. Again, it's not so much the crime being committed, but the fact that after you did what you did, then you proceeded to take that extra step. That's crazy and quite terrifying, let me tell you. All right, we're going to Florida. True Crime Daily. It says a Florida man allegedly stuffed baby wipe down his 2-month-old throat, killing her. Oh boy. Published August 30th, 2023. This is in Vero Beach, Florida. And it says, deputies arrested a 30-year-old man for allegedly choking his infant daughter to death by stuffing a baby wipe down her throat and restricting her airways. In a statement, the Indian River County Sheriff's Office said deputies went to Joseph Napier's house May 28th, 2021, after responding to a call we never want to receive regarding an unresponsive 2-month-old. The dispatcher guided Napier through CPR while the fire department and deputies made their way to his residence on 6th Avenue in Vero Beach. When deputies arrived, they found Napier and his daughter, who was turning blue. The responding deputy performed CPR on the little girl and quickly moved her to an ambulance, but she passed away. According to the Indian River County Sheriff's Office, Napier told deputies his daughter started choking and he noticed a small white object in the back of her mouth. He claimed he left the 2-month-old alone with her 18-month-old sister on a couch for about 10 minutes. He allegedly said when he returned, the infant was choking and in distress. His timeline of events reportedly stated he waited 5 minutes before dialing 911, but investigators determined he actually spent 30 minutes on his phone prior to calling. The statement said a baby wipe was removed from deep within the infant's throat during an exam, which caused her to stop breathing. The sheriff's office said, based on all of the evidence gathered and in consultation with medical physicians, it was determined that the only person present at the time of the incident that could have placed the wipe that deep in the child's throat was Joseph Napier. Following a 2-year investigation, Napier was arrested August 24th and booked into the Indian River County Jail on a manslaughter charge. A judge set his bond at $750,000. Why isn't that first degree? I'm confused. Why is it a manslaughter charge? Why not like full blown like first degree murder? Like you intentionally did that. It's a 2-month-old. 60 days. 62, it's like what, like 30, 31 if you want to be a dick about it. Yeah, that's where we are in the world. This is it. And, like, come on now. Why aren't there ads and shit about, if you're not prepared to have a child, don't have it. Because I feel like people don't grasp the immense responsibility that a child, it's a human being, it's a person. Two months. I mean, wow. That's insane. It's a 2-month-old. They don't have a video, so we can't really see anything about it. I don't know what to say. And then he tried to blame the other child that was there. That's 18 months. It's a year and a half old. So you literally wanted to say that a 1.5-year-old stuffed a baby wipe down a 2-month-old's mouth enough to have that baby choke. A 1.5-year-old kid can barely talk. You feel me? Hasn't even reached that, what is it called, like the terrible twos, and that is who you were blaming for. Gotcha. Understood. We're moving on. We are going to Orlando. Title says, man convicted of killing his wife during fight over home renovations, then leaving her body in bathtub. True Crime Daily, published October 19th, 2023. And it says, a jury convicted a 55-year-old man this week of killing his wife in 2018 because they got into an argument about appearing on a home renovation television show. The state attorney's office for the 9th Judicial Circuit announced Wednesday, October 18th, that David Tronis was convicted of first-degree murder for killing his wife, Shanti Cooper Tronis, 5 years ago. Tronis beat his wife to death April 24th, 2018, at their home in Delaney Park because of a dispute concerning home renovations. According to the statement, Tronis spent thousands of dollars on renovations and had hopes of appearing on the reality TV show Zombie House Renovations. Cooper Tronis, however, did not want to appear on the show, which led to issues in their relationship. They slept in different rooms during the renovation process. The state attorney's office says Tronis alleges he found Cooper Tronis dead in the bathtub after he was out cleaning and walking their dogs. Evidence, however, proved otherwise. Investigators said Cooper Tronis was beaten to death in her bedroom, then moved after Tronis tried to clean the scene. The medical examiner said at the trial Cooper Tronis sustained bruises on her eyes as well as other facial injuries. When speaking with detectives, Tronis showed little remorse during his interrogation and never shed a tear over his wife's death. Orlando police officers arrested Tronis on August 30th, 2018. Tronis' trial lasted 6 days and the jury deliberated for about 5 hours before reaching their verdict. According to WESH-TV, prosecutors said during the trial, Tronis cracked his wife's skull, then strangled her to death. Wow. WESH reports Cooper Tronis' family did not want prosecutors to seek the death penalty against Tronis. Tronis was sentenced to life in prison. Wow. I've never heard of that show before. Zombie house renovations? I didn't even know that was a thing. But all that for... Again, it's just... First, it's the inability to comprehend that we're all human beings, that you're taking the life of a human being. Not only that, but the reasons why these people commit crimes sometimes are just so petty and so ridiculous. Yet the depth of just how much pain you're causing. Because not only you're taking this life, but you're destroying the lives of the people that love this person. Like that is so crazy to me. All in this case for a bathtub, renovations for a TV show. Human life means nothing to some people. Not only, just to mention the fact that we're just a spectacle of a spectacle in this vast universe. Not only do you have to deal with that part, but you also have to deal with just like people's extreme pettiness. This is a petty reason to commit a crime. I mean, all crimes suck, but this is like a petty reason to take someone's life. I hope this person, well, he was sentenced to life in prison, and I hope he's never released. That's ridiculous. Wow. Alright, this is WESH.com. Title says, Jury finds Orlando man guilty in wife's murder. Mind you, the murder happened in 2018.
Guilty. That is the verdict tonight for a man accused of killing his wife. David Tronis was convicted of first-degree murder.
Yeah, prosecutors made that case that he killed Shanti Cooper Tronis in their Delaney Park home that they were renovating for a reality TV show back in 2018. WESH's Haley Krimmelholm has been following this case for us tonight. Haley, you were in the courtroom as the verdict and sentence were handed down. What was the atmosphere? Go ahead and set the scene for us.
It was an emotional night here. It took the jury more than 5 hours to make this decision that the family had been waiting for 5 years. Now, some of the family were crying. They were comforting each other. Her young son was in the courtroom. He had been waiting to hear this result. Now, Tronis was sentenced to life in prison. The family had requested that the death penalty be taken off the table.
Your Honor, my mom was the best person I ever knew.
Shanti Cooper Tronis' son took a moment to collect himself as he gave a statement to the judge before she handed down her sentence.
Early 2018, she was taken from me and my family. It's like a hole in my heart that I can't fill or fix. She didn't die peacefully. She did not deserve anything that happened to her that night.
Man, that sucks. The kid has to live with this shit for the rest of his life. It's crazy.
My family and I have been waiting for about 5 years for justice. I miss her so much. I would have never thought the day before was the last time I would see my mother alive.
After 5 years of waiting, the family finally heard the decision they had been waiting to hear.
The court will adjudicate you guilty, will sentence you to life imprisonment.
Cooper Tronis' ex-husband had two feelings when the sentence was finally read.
Exhilaration and a little bit of peace. Something we haven't had for since 2018.
And after years, a sense of relief for her son, Jackson.
It's like a weight that's been lifted off of our shoulders. It's like 5 years of struggle and pain lifted off of our shoulders.
Damn, you know what's crazy? They weren't even together anymore. But that's the mom of his kid. It's like, yeah, you can be in any position that you can be in life, and you could start a new family and everything, but yeah, like, that's the person you had a child with, that you will forever be linked and intertwined with this person for all eternity. That's it. So of course this would affect not only the son, but also the ex-husband as well. There was a moment in time where they were together and they loved each other and they created a family. It didn't work out. They each one moved on with their own lives, but it would still affect someone. I mean, again, it's the mom of his kid. Crazy. But yeah, this is another one of the cases where we're finally getting closure on it, and it feels pretty comforting, at least for the family. It's good to hear at least the kid kind of seeing him smile, and it's a push forward towards trying to mend things. But I don't know, maybe how old do you think this kid is? What, like 14, 15? Probably like 9, 8 when this happened. That's a pretty young age to understand what grief is and have to go through a grieving process. So at least this brings some closure to him, and he'll be able to move on a little bit. But it's his mom, dude. Like that's a scar that you have to live with for the rest of your life. It's crazy. And to think that it was his dad that did it. It was not his dad. That's his dad. I mean, it's his mother's new husband. Crazy.
And it feels good inside that he's finally where he is, and now that we can move on knowing that he's where he's supposed to be and where he's meant to be.
The decision closes a dark chapter for the family and begins another.
Now we're gonna wake up tomorrow a little brighter.
Now the judge says Tronis has 30 days to appeal the judgment against him. Live in Orlando, Haley Crumblehome, WESH 2 News.
Crazy. Left her body in the bathtub. We are heading to Florida. This says Florida man allegedly killed pregnant partner, unborn child, and himself in front of several people. We are still reading from truecrimedaily.com, published July 24th, 2023. This is from Polk County, Florida. And it says, the Polk County Sheriff's Office is investigating a suspected murder-suicide that reportedly left a 21-year-old pregnant victim and a 26-year-old man dead last week. The Polk County Sheriff's Office said a fatal shooting occurred Friday, July 21st, shortly after 7 p.m., near a home on Central Avenue West in the Inwood area of Winter Haven. Riley Groover allegedly fatally shot the victim multiple times, who was 8 months pregnant, before turning the gun on himself in front of several people. First responders and hospital staff attempted life-saving measures, but neither the unborn baby nor the mother could be saved. According to the Sheriff's Office, investigators have determined this was a domestic-related incident. Family members reportedly told officials the couple have argued in the past and the disputes have become physical, but none of the incidents were reported to authorities. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said in a statement, there was a violent and horrific double murder that ended the lives of a 21-year-old woman who was 8 months pregnant and her unborn baby. When the suspect became enraged, family members and neighbors did everything they could to help her get away from him. Please keep this family in your prayers. Groover has been arrested before for aggravated assault and domestic violence, records show. Isn't it funny how they just insert that this person has been arrested multiple times before? Kind of begs the question, what was he doing out? I don't know. This bond system, sometimes, it's so weird because even like cases where there's like domestic violence and stuff like that, sometimes they have postings for like bond and stuff, which, I mean, what? I don't know, man. I don't know. And then, yeah, man, the only could have done it to himself. To himself and not have to. Jesus. Crazy. This one has no video. But, just look at this. I mean, it's just this soulless eyes. There's nothing there. There's nothing behind there. There's nothing. Actually, from my angle, like watching this image, it kind of seems like he has like just like black eyes. Like just like completely black eyes like you see in the movies when people are like possessed. I mean, could be possessed by an alien. Could be possessed by anything that you think is weird or evil. This looks like it's currently possessed by it because it's in the eyes and you can see those eyes. Evil. Crazy. Whatever. I don't understand what he was doing out. That perplexes me a lot. We will move on to another one. We're going to Florida. Title says, Florida man allegedly traveled to Ohio to pick up underage girlfriend he met playing World of Warcraft. True Crime Daily, published January 5th, 2024. And this is in Dunellen. And it says, a 31-year-old man was arrested on several charges for allegedly traveling to Ohio to pick up his underage girlfriend, driving her to Florida, and planning to hide her until they could get married. According to the Marion County Sheriff's Office, on Wednesday, January 3rd, an FBI agent contacted a Marion County detective regarding a missing child case out of Ohio. FBI agents reportedly learned the missing teen's World of Warcraft account had been accessed from an address in Dunellen. Investigators traced the location to Thomas Ebersol's house and said he also logged into his gaming profile from the same address. Law enforcement went to Ebersol's home, and he allegedly initially said he did not know the teen. During further questioning, he admitted to picking up the teen from her home in Ohio and driving her back to Florida. He reportedly stated he was in a romantic relationship with the juvenile victim and was going to hide her in his home with plans for her to become his wife. Investigators obtained messages between Ebersol and the victim, which the sheriff's office said further outlined his plans to meet the victim in Ohio and engage in sexual activity, despite knowing that he was committing a crime. Ebersol was arrested on charges of traveling to meet a minor to engage in sexual activity, interfering with child custody, and sheltering an unmarried minor. According to Ebersol's arrest affidavit, shared by Law and Crime, Ebersol and the teen call each other pet names, including Darling, Baby Girl, Little Wolf, Babe, and others. They also texted each other ILY, which means I love you, and ILYSM, which is I love you so much. Ebersol reportedly admitted to officials that he kissed the teen girl in his car, but not much in his house. Ebersol had hickeys on his neck that he said the victim gave to him. The affidavit alleges the two texted and joked about the relationship being a crime and how Ebersol knew the girl was only 16 years old. Ebersol does not have any prior criminal history, according to the affidavit. Ebersol was booked into the Marion County Jail and is being held without bond. This is quite disgusting. There's actually a video on YouTube. You know, there's these groups of people, depending on what state that you're in. There's one in Colorado. There's one here in California. There's one in, I think it's Idaho, Kansas. There's groups of men that they pose as teenagers online to catch these pedophiles. And one case that I saw, and I saw it on YouTube, was this guy that they ended up having to call the cops on him, and they had to arrest him because he lived in another state, but he became so obsessed with a minor, but like obsessed, he went to her house and he would just stand outside of her house to try to see if he can see her. Mind you, this was like a 6-7-year-old. They're sick in the fucking head. I'm glad that they arrested that dude. But again, and I'll share the same story I shared yesterday, and I've said it before here. Dude, when my wife and I moved up to the mountains in California, and we looked up the town on a local law enforcement's website, on a map, it looked like a Christmas tree with red dots all over the town with the sheer amount of people that had committed crimes against minors, like sexual crimes. It's pretty fucking disgusting. And on top of that, traumatizing. And also not very smart, because the law is pretty clear. They joked about the relationship that they had, but you're an adult. It's your responsibility as an adult to cut that shit, nip it in the bud. No. Yet, all these fucking disgusting men, they go to great lengths, and they seem to forget that there's many reasons for them to end up in jail because of what they're doing. Those same guys that pose online, they don't say the amount of depravities that these guys text these supposed underage girls, because their videos would get banned on YouTube. Just how bad it is. So, this is a clear example of a groomer that found a victim online and was grooming this child for a heinous reason. I mean, he was going to abduct her and keep her basically as a prisoner in his home until she was old enough to marry him. That's how sick in the head this fucker is. My personal opinion, and I know that's never going to happen, albeit he will suffer in jail, but I don't know, some countries chop genitals off. Should we do that here? I don't know, maybe. Maybe you do it once and all this would stop at some point because they don't want to get their dicks chopped off. Something has to happen. But he's being held without bond, but we've already read many cases here of guys that have done shit to children and they get away with it. Women that have done stuff with kids and they get away with it. And they're celebrated, and they make documentaries about them, and movies, and Lifetime TV shows and shit, Lifetime specials, and Hallmark movies and shit, and again, we are living in very weird times where right is wrong and wrong is right. I hope this man is not released. I hope there isn't a judge that lessens his crimes and he's able to get out. That's another thing. A lot of judges tend to dismiss cases or not take it any further for like the dumbest reasons, and these people they're just released again. It's a problem. For example, we have in San Francisco here all these robberies and all the carjackings and shit. They get arrested, but the judges, they just let them go, and then they'll get rearrested, and the judges let them go. So it's not that law enforcement isn't doing their job. It's that the people making the decisions as to whether these people should be kept in jail or not, they're the ones choosing to let these people go for some strange reason. When, if you really think about it, taxpayer money is what's used to be able to maintain prisons for the most part. So how about you ask taxpayers, hey, what do you think we should do? And I'm pretty sure taxpayers would say, nah, keep him in jail. Leave him in there for a little longer. That way there can be some sort of reform. But if people don't pay for their actions and there's no sort of responsibility, they're just going to do it again and again. I mean, it's to the point where they're making like decoys in San Francisco to be able to catch people stealing. And they still do it. They'll steal it, they throw the decoy away, and they go and they do it again and again. And they're arrested and they're released. And they're arrested and they're released. So what are we doing? Where's my tax? What is my taxpayer money being used for if it's not to keep criminals in jail? Who's stealing my money? Who's stealing our money? What is happening? What is happening? What for real? There's a bunch of people that's why they criticize San Francisco so much. And people think that it's like a lawless city. It's not that it's lawless. It's that law enforcement is putting people in jail, but the judges and these lawyers, they are just able to get these people released. Repeat offenders doing the same shit over and over and over again. Dude, there's people that sleep. They'll park their cars at the end of the day when they're going into sleep, going back into their homes, and they leave like the trunk open with all the windows down so that robbers can see that there's nothing in the vehicle. It's already been robbed. Please don't steal my shit again. Could you imagine sleeping with your trunk open and all your windows down? Because in a normal circumstance, you would say, wow, you could get robbed like that. And you have to do it because you don't want to get robbed because you've already been robbed so many times. And they keep letting them out. I don't know. A lot of people like to complain about law enforcement, but the judicial system in this country needs a revamp as well. They need to step it up because this is ridiculous. And again, it's taxpayer money. Because if you would tell me that we're not funding that at all, I could give you that. Okay, fine. Just do whatever you want. But we pay for that. You tax me pretty much a whole lot. Income tax, sales tax, taxes at the end of the year, all that shit. It's money that's going to the government. Money that's going to in my state, California, depending on what state you're in, the taxes you're paying are going to the government. And what are they doing with this money? What are they doing? Have you seen the roads? Again, there's no sidewalks around here. To walk in my neighborhood, I have to look up to the sky and ask for a chance. Please let me live this. Please don't let me get hit by a car. And that's how I walk around the neighborhood. Because they couldn't even invest in making sidewalks for people. Let alone using taxpayer money to keep criminals in jail. Yet there's people sitting in prisons for a joint and sitting in prison for selling a dime bag of cannabis. We're going to Florida. Ex-wife indicted in shooting death of Microsoft exec who was killed in targeted ambush. True Crime Daily, published August 17th, 2023, and we are in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. The ex-wife of a man who was fatally shot last year after dropping his kids off at her home is now being accused of playing a role in his death. On Thursday, August 17th, 4th Judicial Circuit State Attorney Melissa Nelson announced a grand jury returned an indictment charging Shanna Gardner with first-degree murder, solicitation to commit first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and child abuse in connection with the death of 33-year-old Jared Britigan. Nelson said, "We promised at the outset of this investigation we would not relent until we uncovered the truth of Jared's murder, the whole and entire truth." ATF agents arrested Gardner in West Richland, Washington, and she will be extradited to Florida. Nelson said her office will file a notice of intent to seek the death penalty if Gardner is convicted. Gardner's husband, Mario Fernandez Saldana, was arrested in March also on charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, solicitation to commit a capital felony, and child abuse. The state attorney's office is also seeking the death penalty against Fernandez Saldana. Just before Fernandez Saldana was indicted, his alleged co-conspirator, Henry Tenon, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and agreed to testify against any accomplice. On February 16th, 2022, Britigan had a date night dinner with his and Gardner's 9-year-old twins and his 2-year-old daughter from his new marriage. He dropped off the twins at Gardner and Fernandez Saldana's house, then continued to drive home. He was on a dark stretch of Sanctuary Boulevard and saw a tire in the street. When he got out of the car to move the tire, he was gunned down and killed. The 2-year-old girl, who was still strapped into her car seat, was not harmed. The affidavit, however, says bullets struck the interior of the vehicle in close proximity to where the child was strapped into her car, an act that reasonably could have been expected to cause physical or mental injury to her. Jacksonville Beach Police arrested Tenon in January on charges of conspiracy to commit murder, second-degree murder, child abuse, and accessory after the fact. At a press conference announcing the arrest, Chief Gene Smith said Britigan was gunned down in cold blood. He called the shooting a planned and targeted ambush. According to WJXT-TV, Britigan's wife, Kristen Britigan, said after the indictment announcement, "For 547 days, we hoped and prayed that this day would come. Shanna's arrest ends one horrific chapter of our pursuit for justice for Jared, and now we opened a new one. This next chapter will be excruciating. We are confident in the ability of the state's attorney's office and law enforcement to bring truth to light. We expect to see justice carried out to the fullest extent of the law." Damn. Let's see. Jacksonville always reminds me of, I've said this before here on other streams, it always reminds me of Ash Williams, because he's from Jacksonville. If you don't know Ash Williams, that's the protagonist of the Evil Dead series. Evil Dead 1, 2, Army of Darkness, and Ash vs. Evil Dead. Classic. But in one of the episodes of the show, he talks about Jacksonville, Florida. Actually, he sings a song about it. Pretty interesting. If you haven't checked it out and you like the series, I highly recommend. If you don't, I would still recommend it. It's very entertaining, pretty gory, but very entertaining, and it's Bruce Campbell, so you can't go wrong with Bruce Campbell. So we're checking out news4jax.com. This title says, ex-wife of Jared Britigan indicted on first-degree murder charge. Ex-wife of Jared Britigan indicted on first-degree murder charge and conspiracy that led to ambush shooting. All right, let's watch this video real quick. I'm going to put it up a little bit here, so it's going to be right above my head.
This is the indictment for Shanna Gardner. We just got it from the state attorney's office after we requested it, and it shows this is the indictment for Shanna Gardner.
The screen looks completely blurred. You can't really see anything, so it just looks like it looks blank with just like some very light shade of gray that you could kind of like think that it's where the text is. But I put it back because I thought it was my mind playing tricks on me. But no, it's actually that you can't really see anything. I don't know if you can notice.
We just got it from the state attorney's office after we requested it, and it shows the charges that she is facing right now. It also shows that a local grand jury formally connected her to the horrific murder here in South Jacksonville Beach. Tonight, on this rainy Thursday evening, there is still a sign asking for justice for Jared. There are pictures of him with his family members, and as we were standing here, a neighbor drove up with these flowers. She said she's praying for his loved ones.
If you knew Jared, you knew that he does not give up. He's very focused, and he would make sure that our family got justice while we're still living.
An emotional and grateful Britigan family. We spoke with his widow, siblings, and parents after news of a third arrest in the case.
So we are very grateful to be here, and we just know that we got to buckle up and be ready for what's coming.
State Attorney Melissa Nelson and Jacksonville Beach detectives announced the indictment and arrest of Bridegan's ex-wife, Shanna Gardner, 547 days after his murder.
We promised at the outset of this investigation we would not relent until we uncovered the truth of Jared's murder, the whole and entire truth.
ATF agents arrested her in West Richland, Washington this morning, a remote place she moved to with the twins she shared with Bridegan after coming under fire for the murder. Investigators say Gardner played a central and key role in the cold-blooded killing 18 months ago after Bridegan dropped the twins off at her Jacksonville Beach home. He stopped on this wooded stretch just miles away to move a tire that had been left in the road. That's when police say his killers ambushed him. His 2-year-old daughter, Bexley, was in the back seat of his SUV but wasn't hurt. He had a newborn child at home.
It's been a broken world. February 16th was a broken. It just seemed like everything just broke. And today it feels a little bit better. It feels like we can do this.
Police arrested Gardner's husband, Mario Fernandez, in March. He's facing the same charges. His tenant at a home he owned, Henry Tenon, marked the first arrest in the case. That was in February. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder after detectives found handwritten checks that Fernandez wrote to him after the killing. Now the Bridegan family is pleading with Shanna Gardner's family members to reconnect them with Jared's twins.
Hearts and minds. I've been with Liam and Abby since the day of Jared's murder, but especially now.
Knowing these children have lost not one, but 2 parents in this brutal scheme. State Attorney Melissa Nelson tells us she plans to seek the death penalty against Gardner and Fernandez. She did not want to release any more details about evidence in the case because she says she didn't want to compromise what they are going to be doing in the court system coming up. As for Gardner, she is currently behind bars in Washington State, awaiting extradition to here in Florida. I did reach out to her attorney, Hank Cox. He told me he had no comment. In Jacksonville Beach, I'm Vic Michelucci, Channel 4, the local station.
You know, I'm a little confused here. This article says, okay, so Shanna Gardner was indicted Thursday morning by a grand jury in Florida and later arrested in Washington State. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, which is ATF, agents arrested her in West Richland, Washington, where she moved with the twins she shared with Bridegan. ATF's Jacksonville field office had been assisting Jacksonville Beach Police Department detectives since early in the investigation. I didn't even know that they had like agents like that helped police. That's crazy. Isn't that a little bit weird? Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it seems so out of place that a bureau that is in charge of I guess firearms, because it was a shooting. Maybe that's why. But let's see. I'm curious to find out what the protocol is. Okay, so I wrote in Google search, I just copy pasted Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF agents help police. And it says ATF's highly trained agents are responsible for investigating violations of federal laws relating to firearms, explosives, arson, and alcohol, and tobacco diversion. They rely on a combination of tactical, analytical, and intelligence gathering skills to identify leads that will support criminal cases. I don't understand. But what difference does this do? That what is the difference between this bureau and isn't it? I don't understand. Isn't that what police do? I guess what my question is, what gives this specific bureau the authority to, like, basically, but those are things that happen with, like, normal police. So I'm just, I don't know, I'm confused about it. So I'm gonna go into their website, see what it says. No, I'm not signing up to anything. Okay, so this is atf.gov, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and it says what we do. And it says ATF's responsibilities include the investigation and prevention of federal offenses involving the unlawful use, manufacture, and possession of firearms and explosives, acts of arson and bombings, and illegal trafficking of alcohol and tobacco products. The ATF also regulates, via licensing, the sale, possession, and transportation of firearms, ammunition, and explosives in interstate commerce. Many of ATF's activities are carried out in conjunction with task forces made up of state and local law enforcement officers, such as Project Safe Neighborhoods. ATF operates a unique fire research laboratory in Beltsville, Maryland, where full-scale mock-ups of criminal arson can be reconstructed. Interesting. Maybe it's because, again, it was a shooting, but I don't know. Maybe at some point I did read something like this, but at the moment I don't remember having read any other case that had this bureau involved in it. So I don't know, caught me by surprise, but oh well. Let's watch this next video of the same case, and then we'll move on to another case. This is when they, I guess, arrested Shannon. Is that her name? Yeah, Shanna. Sorry. Shanna Gardner. Sorry. Keep it up here.
News4Jack's I-Team investigator Vic Michelucci sat down with Bradigan's brother and widow today as they reflect on this latest arrest.
When did you begin suspecting Shanna was going to be arrested and charged for this?
Jared was a very kind person. He did not have enemies. He wasn't involved in any shady things. You know, in Shanna's interview last year, she mentioned we ran in different circles, her and Jared. Yeah, you did. And he was in good company.
Jared Bradigan's widow, Kirsten, has strong words for 36-year-old Shanna Gardner and Gardner's husband, 35-year-old Mario Fernandez. Both are now charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation of murder. Brother Adam Bradigan is grateful for this development.
I would just say that I feel right now a sense of relief, a small bit of peace, that the pain has transferred. The pain of not knowing and wondering if everyone would be, put behind bars. That pain will now transition to, are we going to fully get justice? Is everything going to play out right? But we can't control that.
Solicitation to commit first-degree murder.
State Attorney Melissa Nelson, flanked by a team of detectives from Jacksonville Beach and the ATF, announced Gardner's arrest yesterday in Washington State. She moved there with the two children she shared with Bradigan after the killing. Body camera footage from the Orange County Sheriff's Office shows the March 16th arrest of Fernandez. He's calm and conversational with deputies as they take him to jail.
Sir, one more question. Can I get in contact with my brother about my dogs?
Who are your dogs?
I have 3 dogs. They're at a townhouse, but I just need my brother to be able to take care of them.
The first arrest came in February when police caught Henry Tenen, a man who rented a room from Fernandez. He has since pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, agreeing to cooperate against the co-defendants. Careful not to compromise the case, Bradigan's loved ones say they're not backing down in their push for justice.
Justice in the legal system, for me, looks like the harshest punishment available. They took a life of a father, of a loving husband. They took a father away from 4 children, a son away from parents, a brother away from siblings, an uncle. They took a lot. And so for them, the least that I expect to happen is that their life is now spent behind bars, where they can think about everything that they've done to our family, our friends, and the children.
I did reach out to Gardner's attorney. He told me yesterday that he had no comment about the pending case. Have also spoken with the attorney for Fernandez in the past. He says he's going to let the facts play out in the courtroom, not in the public. I'm Vic Micolucci, Channel 4, the local station.
Damn. Man, that sucks. You know what the worst part is? The fact that, dude, those kids are gonna they're gonna be raised without like one of their parents. That sucks. That fucking sucks. Not that it was something natural or, you know, shit happens. Fortunate things happen at times, you know, natural things. Life is odd and weird like that at times, but bro, to have someone taken away from you like that, I think some people just don't fail to realize that, you know, a lot of people are loved. Not like excessively, but we'll take this person for example. Like, dude, he was fucking loved. Loved. You know, his family. He had his wife, his kids, and shit. And bro, like, that's a family that they'll just never be the same again. That's it. All it took was someone being taken from them to just like ruin it for who knows how many people. And this is just like one singular case. Just imagine like the numerous amounts of cases that we've covered here happen on a daily basis. Like, just like regular old people that are living their lives day by day. And yeah, I don't know, man. I feel for the family. Damn, I feel for those kids, man. They're gonna have to be raised without a dad because of someone else. Fucking crazy. We're going to Florida. Title says a man struck 86-year-old father with car, backed up, and drove forward multiple times, killing him. True Crime Daily, published November 13th, 2023, and this is in Treasure Island. Deputies arrested a 61-year-old man after he allegedly struck and killed his 86-year-old father with a car over the weekend. On Saturday, November 11th, shortly after 8:30 p.m., the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office responded to our bar at 245 108th Avenue in reference to a fatal hit-and-run crash. Investigators allege that Mark McEwen struck and dragged his father, Thomas McEwen, with a 2019 black Dodge Ram. Mark McEwen reportedly backed into a parking space, and his father walked toward the vehicle before falling. The vehicle started moving, and McEwen allegedly hit his father, dragging him in the parking lot. According to the sheriff's office, afterward, McEwen reversed the vehicle and drove over his father's body several times before fleeing the scene. The victim was transported to the hospital and pronounced dead. Deputies took Mark McEwen into custody, and he was booked into the Pinellas County Jail on a charge of leaving the scene of a crash involving death. Records show he was released on $50,000 bond the next day. The sheriff's office noted that impairment appears to be a factor in the crash. The investigation is ongoing. Wait, but the crash was him crashing into his father? Like they didn't categorize that as like second degree murder or like some sort of like manslaughter. They categorized like if you were to crash with two cars, that's how they kind of made it seem that that's... He was released on bond. I'm telling you, sometimes I don't know if it's that the laws don't work for us, or is it that they're not enforced correctly. Because he ran him over. So he saw his father fall. He ran over him and he backed up and did it a few more times. And he was released. I mean, this is Florida. I don't want to, judge other states and whatnot, but we all remember Casey Anthony. I mentioned this a lot on this stream. I think that's one of the cases that has pissed me off the most in like the history of like true crime world, if you want to call it that, because of the mere fact that there was just, we all knew. Everyone seeing it on their TVs, reading the news, seeing this person's attitude and how they were carrying themselves. The mere fact that we have never, ever heard anything about this child. And she was released. She didn't. She went to court and they found her not guilty. And she is out to this day. Saw a picture of her like 3 weeks ago. Someone posted it on TikTok. And she was at a party. No, actually, it was a video. It was a picture and a video. She was at a party. And, dude, her daughter. Yeah, you're right, Duggan. Misapplication of laws. Mind you, that the child is, that's it. It's a lost cause at this point. She can't go back to court for the same thing, because once you are tried and and there's a verdict for that specific whatever you're being charged for, you can't go back to jail for that. So this person, even if they were to find him, if he makes it to court and they find him like not guilty or something, they wouldn't be able to charge him ever again for it, regardless of the evidence that they find. I'm just surprised that they released him. That's crazy. I wonder if there's a video of that. Wow, that would be... If there's like a security camera that would actually have recorded the whole thing and they'd be able to use that in court, because wow, that's unbelievable. I'm looking at the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office webpage. They don't really say anything interesting. It's the same information that True Crime Daily used for the article, and this is the jail records. Oh, no picture. Boo. I like the ones that have the picture on it. It has that mugshot. Oh, so wonderful, but this is boring. Don't have it. This is the criminal. Wow. Didn't matter that was his blood or a relative. It had no meaning or purpose in his life. Killed him just the same. All right, we're going to Florida. The title says, GameStop employee accused of fatally shooting alleged Pokemon card thief. True Crime Daily. This was published October 20th, 2023, and we are going to Pembroke Pines. And it says, a 33-year-old GameStop employee stands accused of fatally shooting an unarmed shoplifter this week, according to a news release from the Pembroke Pines Police Department. On Tuesday, October 17th, at approximately 8:16 p.m., officers responded to a shooting at a GameStop store located at 11069 Pines Boulevard. The gunshot victim, identified by WFOR-TV as 21-year-old Chadwick Coates, was transported to a local hospital for critical injuries, where he later died. Upon further investigation, police determined the victim was shoplifting from the store, and employee Derek Guerrero confronted him. The victim reportedly ran toward the door with $500 worth of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Ultra Premium Collection trading cards in his possession. Guerrero allegedly pulled out a concealed firearm from his waistband and fired a single shot into the victim's torso. WFOR reports Coates dropped the cards prior to being shot. Officers noted that at no time did the victim threaten Guerrero or display any type of weapon. WFOR reports that surveillance footage captured the incident. Guerrero reportedly purchased the gun after a robbery incident in the store months ago. Police apprehended Guerrero on a charge of manslaughter. According to WFOR, Guerrero, who worked as GameStop's assistant manager, was released from jail after posting $25,000 bond. He reportedly addressed reporters stating, "I want to say I'm sorry, very sorry to the family." The store was reportedly closed as of Thursday, October 19th. You know that stores have insurance, right? I worked at Whole Foods. One of the things that Whole Foods tells you is that if you see someone stealing, don't confront them. Just don't. They have security, and if the security doesn't do anything about it, and that's it. But for you as an employee, this is too much. This is extra shit. It's like, how much are they paying you as an assistant manager at a GameStop in Florida for you to shoot someone because they stole $500 worth of Pokemon cards? It's not even yours. Like, GameStop could fire you the next day. If they could have fired you the same day that they stole those cards, and they could have just said that they don't like you. They don't like your face. But you need to go. Companies can fire you for any reason. Obviously, if it falls under like the 5, major ones, which is like discrimination, against your religion, etc., then obviously you can sue. But anything that doesn't fall in those, like in that category, and it's not anything that's like suable, dude, they could just fire you. So you're gonna do all this and literally shoot someone, and you have to live with this guilt for the rest of your life? Like, who knows? Maybe this person is not a criminal. Maybe this person has just found themselves in this situation. Now you have to live your whole life with a fucking guilty conscience because you shot someone for Pokemon cards at a GameStop, a company that's not even yours. I could kind of understand if it, maybe it's like the owner, the CEO of GameStop. You're stealing from my store. I could sort of understand that situation, but really, some measly GameStop employee in a store, out of all of the other thousands of GameStop stores that you have, you're really gonna go this extra mile to shoot someone because they stole Pokemon cards? A company that has insurance? I don't understand, man. That's weird. It's just like, it's weird. It's like, what are you expecting the company to do? Like, are they gonna give you like a raise? Are you expecting the company to give you a raise because you shot someone? I don't understand. Are you expecting a thank you? Flowers? Do you want them to send you chocolate? A pat on your back? What would lead you to think that you're gonna shoot someone because they stole something from the store that you work in? Like, could you imagine that someone would shoot someone because they stole someone from a convenience store? It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, man. The store got robbed. Yeah, how many stores get robbed? That's it. Unless you're the owner of the store, yeah, man, the store got robbed. Are you okay? If you're okay and everything is good, yeah, man, that's it. The store has insurance. They need to figure that out. But it's just the lack of compassion towards life. It's like, I understand that it's the wrong thing, but you have to balance how that wrong thing is affecting you. It's like, are they gonna take the money out of your paycheck? Is GameStop gonna charge you those $500 for the Pokemon cards? I don't understand, because there's cameras there. You could have just easily said, like, hey man, they were robbing the store. But the guy didn't even have a weapon. So you did all this extra stuff. Not only this person didn't go the extra mile. This person went 300,000 times the extra mile, and they are getting absolutely nothing from this. Now you're $25,000 less, and people know that you shot someone for no reason, and that person died too on top of that. So now everyone knows that you suck as a human being, and you have to live with the fact that this person died for Pokemon cards. Like, really? I don't know. You're gonna destroy your future for the actions of someone else that don't affect you in any way, shape, or form. The fact that that person stole those cards doesn't affect you at all because you don't own the store, so that's it. They stole it, man. There's evidence there. I'm okay. You know, if I were to be that person, I'm okay. I got my life. Everything is good. That's it. And it would have just ended there. But doing it for it's not even like you're defending your family, or they're like stealing from your home, and you have the right to self-defense, and you have the right to bear arms, and you fucking shoot this person like, hey motherfucker, you're stealing from me. Bam. That's it. But really, dude, like, really, the store that you work in, minimum wage, like, maybe if you're like assistant manager, you're making a little bit more than minimum wage, which is still like $7-8 in Florida anyway. How much are you really making enough for you to shoot someone? Or you're making like $50 an hour? Bro, you don't make more than $15 an hour. Do you really think the $15 that you make an hour is enough for you to shoot someone else for a multi-million-dollar company that could give not one, not two, but 3 shits about you? That company could fire and sue you in the same paper, and they would not give 2 shits about you. Yet you shot someone because of that. Bro, whatever, man. People need to calm down. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Pokemon cards. Bro, come on now. That's ridiculous. Chat, let me know what you think. Comment on this video if you're watching this on YouTube later on when I post it. I mean, is this not crazy? Like, really? Like, you took someone's life because of something like that? We're heading down a wrong path. I mean, we're already heading down a wrong path as human beings. Reading these cases, it just confirms it. Sorry. We're going to Florida. Title says, Florida woman allegedly stabs her elderly mother to death during fight. True Crime Daily published January 11th, 2024, and this is in Barefoot Bay. And it says, a 49-year-old woman is in custody after allegedly fatally stabbing her 69-year-old mother this week. On Tuesday, January 9th, shortly after 5 a.m., deputies with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office responded to a home in reference to an injured woman. Inside, authorities found Cheryl Muir suffering from multiple stab wounds, and she was pronounced dead at the scene. According to the sheriff's office, based on collected evidence and interviews, investigators believe the victim and her daughter, Kelly Tinsley, got into a physical altercation on the night of January 8th. During the fight, Tinsley allegedly stabbed her mother to death. A judge issued an arrest warrant for Tinsley, charging her with manslaughter reclassified with the use of a weapon. The sheriff's office apprehended Tinsley and booked her into the Brevard County Jail, where she remained without bond. The investigation is ongoing. Wow. It's like the 3rd one we've seen today, 3rd or 4th one on this live stream alone that has been solely people stabbing other people to death. And that's something. This video does not this article does not have a news video attached to it. We're going to Miami. Title says, woman allegedly stabs boyfriend in the eye with rabies needles because he looked at another woman. True Crime Daily published December 1st, 2023. And it's in Miami. Police arrested a 44-year-old woman over the weekend after she allegedly used rabies vaccination needles to stab her boyfriend in the eye during an argument. According to the arrest report cited by WPLG-TV on Saturday, November 25th, Sandra Jimenez and her longtime boyfriend were out and got into an ongoing argument regarding him looking at other women. Jimenez and her boyfriend reportedly returned home at approximately 10 p.m., which is when their altercation became physical. Police reportedly noted that the boyfriend was on the couch, and Jimenez jumped on top of him with 2 rabies needles that were for their dogs and stabbed him in the eyelid. NBC Miami reports Jimenez fled the home after the incident. The victim called 911 and was transported to Jackson Memorial Hospital. Police reportedly located Jimenez asleep in her car, and she told officers her boyfriend stabbed himself with the needles. Miami-Dade court records show Jimenez was charged with aggravated battery and was released on house arrest. She is required to stay away from her boyfriend. According to WPLG, Jimenez and the victim have been together for 8 years. I will bet anything that they get married. On God, they get married. I'm telling you. That's crazy, dude. That reminds me of that scene in Goodfellas when the wife jumps on Ray Liotta with the gun in her hand. But just in this case, she has like 2 rabies needles and she actually does stab him in the eyes with them. Wow. You know the audacity that you have to have? You know how pissed off you have to be to grab 2 needles and that be your weapon of choice to attack someone with? Bro. But I really do think that they will get married. Only because they've been together for 8 years and it doesn't say anywhere here that he left her. It just says that she's required to stay away from him. So watch this be a story of passion where they can't get enough of each other and they go against the rules of the judge because they have to be together. El amor. La pasión. When I was in high school, there was this couple that were the most dysfunctional couple in the world. Mind you, we were in high school. And it's just, they were the worst together. They brought the worst out in each other. They were horrible people, horrible for each other. They were, individually, they were really nice and they were like pleasant. At least she was pleasant to speak with and whatnot. He's an idiot. But nonetheless, they were together and she was very jealous. That's like the one thing that she had. She was an extremely jealous person, and this was like a week before we graduated high school. They were at a party or some shit like that, and this chick took her heel off and beat this guy with her heel, and she really fucked up his eye. And he stayed with her for like 3 more years. My man, domestic violence works both ways. I know, I will 100% admit, and I'm clear on the data, that obviously there are more domestic violence cases towards women than there are towards men. There's no doubt about it, and there's no argument to it. But, you know, it could be the other way around as well. And, yeah, there's a clear case right here. Rabies needles. A friend of mine, she grabbed a heel, one of those slim, long heels. Bro, and she hit that dude once in the eye and just started hitting him more after that. Repeatedly. So, yeah. Again, nowhere here in this article it says anything about him leaving her, or... Actually, she left the house after she stabbed him with the needles, and then that's when they found her. So, it wasn't even like she stayed there. She didn't even try to help him. She stabbed him and left. Wow. Isn't that something, huh? I hope we get an update. I don't think we're ever gonna get an update on this one. But if we ever do, it would be really funny if the update would be that they married, and you know they've been together longer since this point. This was November 25th. Could you imagine they give like a 5-year update on this, and yeah, they got married and they're like a full-fledged like married couple, married with children, and ooh, yikes. I mean, if it's not nipped in the bud, this is could be just the beginning. I mean, if someone stabs you with needles, who knows what else they're capable of doing? Because she didn't give a shit. So just as much as she didn't give a shit when she literally tried to kill you with a needle, I'm pretty sure if anything would escalate at any other given time, the consequences would be a whole lot worse. So, my guy, if I were you, I would run as fast as possible, try to get myself out of the situation. I'd move countries, move states, move cities, anything that it takes to be able to get as far away from this very crazy person. Because that passion, the passion, yeah, that could become a crime really quickly. We don't need that in our lives. Oh boy. We're going to Miami. True Crime Daily. Title says, teen allegedly encouraged woman to hire hitman to kill her 3-year-old son. The kid is the problem. Published August 31st, 2023. And this is in Miami, Florida. And it says, an 18-year-old man was arrested for allegedly encouraging a woman to kill her 3-year-old son after she used a parody website to hire the hit. Jasmine Baez, 18, was arrested July 18th after she reportedly sent a request on rentahitman.com to target her son. NBC Miami reports Baez asked the hitman to get something done once and for all, and to have him be taken far, far away and possibly be killed, but ASAP. Baez allegedly sent the website photos of her 3-year-old and detailed his locations. The man who runs the site contacted Miami-Dade police, but they reportedly told him to contact Crime Stoppers. He eventually got through to a detective to look into the case after several tries, and Baez was taken into custody. Then, on Monday, August 28th, police arrested Gamaliel Sosa on charges of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and unlawful use of a communication device. NBC News reports, Sosa allegedly texted Baez, "The kid is a problem. I hope you see that all I ever wanted was to free you." He reportedly said he would think about coming back if she killed her son. Sosa was booked into custody and held on $15,000 bond. Baez's father told NBC Miami his daughter is not a monster. He said, "My daughter is a little girl who was born with health problems. She has liquid retained in her neck. She's had 12 surgeries. She lost the ability to move her face. She's been bullied in school. They called her the monster." Baez posted bond July 19th and is due back in court August 18th, while Sosa's next appearance is scheduled for September 27th. I feel like this is a part 2 to this same, because I feel like I read this before or about this case. If not, then we have already seen a case of someone that went into the same website, rentahitman.com, and tried to rent someone to kill her son. I think it is the same person. It looks like the same person, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to see if maybe any of the links down here are... okay, so it is. See, it is the same one. Because I remember reading this. It says July 20th, 2023. I do remember reading this case and going through it. So consider this one a part 2 of that case. Interesting. Let's see. I want to see the dad defending his daughter. Why? This is NBCMiami.com. Title says, "My daughter's not a monster. Dad defends Jasmine Baez. The mom accused of trying to hire hitman to kill toddler." I mean, if that's the hill you want to die on, my guy, fine. This was published July 20th, updated July 21st. I think should be episode 1 or 2 that has the the same case that we read the other time that they published it, but the previous article that True Crime Daily published was just about her. They had not mentioned him, but in this one, which is part 2, they mentioned the boyfriend or whatever the hell he is, who is obviously manipulating her.
Well, here to the story that we've been talking about, the young woman accused of hiring a hitman to kill her 3-year-old son. Well, she's out on bond tonight, and her father is speaking only on 6 about the serious accusations she's facing.
Let's get to NBC 6 reporter Christian Colon joining us with what that and Miami-Dade police have learned, Christian, in the wake of this very unique and troubling investigation.
Yeah, the father told us his daughter needs the medical attention. As for Miami-Dade police, they admit there was a delay in this case just because of how unique this story was, but they point out how quick a detective was put on the case, and eventually there was an arrest. 18-year-old Jasmine Baez walked out of jail without saying a word, but her dad speaking out, saying there's more to the story. My daughter is a little girl who was born with health problems. She has liquid retained in her neck. She had 12 surgeries. She lost the ability to move her face. She's been bullied in school. They called her the monster.
Really quickly, just want to point out,
school.
You have most likely seen
she lost the ability to move her face.
She is a really famous judge. I've seen countless videos of her on TikTok with different cases and whatnot. I forgot her name though, but again, I may not remember the name, but that face is unforgettable. I think she's the same judge that had someone that went into the that was being accused of something that was the court date and whatnot, and it ended up being someone that she went to school with, and he starts like crying and whatnot. But that's one instance of when I saw her. I think she's also the one with the I think it was a defense. There was a woman that was not receiving feminine care in prison, and they hadn't even given her pants or anything like that, and she went to court that day like that, and I think she is the judge that tells them that they need to get her those things ASAP. Really good judge.
In school, they called her the monster. Police say Pius went on a parody website to seek a hitman to allegedly kill her 3-year-old son. That website owner called police to report it. Robert Inez tells us he called Miami-Dade non-emergency number 3 times, but they referred him to Crime Stoppers. However, on that 3rd call, that's when a detective was put on the case.
Because of the fact that it involved an online allegations. So that's what caused a little bit of a delay when he made him call a couple of times. But then once they were able to get a grasp on exactly what he was referring to and how this is playing out, that's when that call taker passed that information to the on-duty supervisor at our communications bureau.
Tonight, police admit there was a delay, but say they arrested the suspect in hours.
Communications Bureau has been in talks with us all day because of the fact that this is so bizarre, where we can utilize this now and create a best practice because of the fact that simply because you run into something that's a little bizarre and it's the first time you run into it doesn't mean you'll never run into it again.
And police say that 3-year-old was living with his grandma at the time because of how young Jasmine was when she had that child. Tonight we are learning he is safe conditions. DCF is now investigating this whole thing. As for Baez, she has a court hearing coming up next month.
Oh, not the court
Miami-Dade
hearing.
Police
The fact that
headquarters, Christian Colon, NBC 6
the kid's fine. Crazy. Let me tell you something. That website is genius. Because I could only imagine the amount. Well, the last time we talked about this case, we actually saw that we read about that website, and they are in close contact with police because unsurprisingly there's a lot of people that really think that that's an actual website and they can just with a few clicks, hire a hitman to off someone. It's scary how many people fall for that, and they've had to call like law enforcement and get them involved because some of the things that are said and the intentions are like, holy shit. Oh yeah. Because we're going to Florida. TrueCrimeDaily.com. Title says, former Florida school employee found dead with zip tie around her neck. Published August 1st, 2023. This is in Sanford, Florida. It says, homicide investigation is underway after police reportedly found a woman's body with a zip tie around her neck last month. According to a news release from the Sanford Police Department on July 17th, at approximately 2:10 p.m., an individual found Josie Cartagena dead in her home in the 3000 block of Salt Marsh Loop and called 911. Sanford Fire and Rescue responded to the residents and attempted life-saving measures, but pronounced Cartagena deceased at the scene. Police said Cartagena's death is being investigated as suspicious and a potential homicide. According to WKMG-TV, investigators have identified a possible person of interest, but they have not been taken into custody. A spokesperson for the Seminole County Public Schools told WKMG that the victim worked for the school district from 2015 to 2022 and has served as a secretary for Spring Lake Elementary School, as well as a clerk for Lawton Elementary School. Cartagena reportedly leaves behind a 22-year-old son who is set to graduate from the University of Central Florida in December.